All right, guys, welcome to Two Scoops Podcast. We got a beautiful day on the lake, last day of game fishing, and we've got Brett Dahlberg with us.
That wasn't that bad, was it?
No. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, buddy.
Good, man. I appreciate you making the trek from the
I
cities
appreciate you having me.
out here, man. Where do you want to start out with?
That's on you. I'm going to leave that up to you.
Dude,
pick my brain. Pick my brain.
I'm going to start out first with, this is the first episode where we're not using headphones. And we were talking about this beforehand.
Brought my own, but I don't need
it. He brought his own nice pair because, well, let's get right into it. You are a DJ and producer.
I'm something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the shit you put on your Instagram. Mind Flare.
Yeah.
Mind Flare music.
Mind Flare.
Yep.
Do you want me to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Audio stuff,
audio stuff.
Well, I geek out about that. That's super new to me.
Music in general.
Yes. Or no, let's back it up. What made you get into the music scene? Like, did you enjoy music when you were growing up? I mean, I'm sure everyone did, but what sparked to be like, I'm gonna start making it?
So the production thing happened when I had moved out to LA, and I was there for, I'd probably say like 2 years or something.
Yep.
And so I was playing drums in a band.
That's right.
I moved out there to play drums because that's all I knew how to do at the time. So I had a buddy who had been living out there, and I was at a transitional point where I was living in the Twin Cities, and I was like, went through this breakup, and I was like, well, do I go back to Siren or do I stay here and figure things out? And I was like, I wanted to do music, and I called up my friend who I knew from. He had been living in the Twin Cities when I was in Eau Claire, and our bands used to swap shows all the time. His name's Pete, and I called him up, and I'm like, hey, man, what's going on out in California? Because I had, entertained the idea. And then Pete's like, my band actually needs a drummer right now. Do you want to come out here? And I'm like, why not?
Yes.
I was like, sure. I'm like, I was just like, no plan, no anything. And
you had no idea where you're staying or housing
he
situations?
He said you could stay at my house for a month or something, or it ended up being 3 months. But he, his band needed a drummer, and I was just at a weird turning point. So I went out there, and I think within the first week I was in a rehearsal, and we were in a, what was it? It was like a Thai massage parlor that. And I didn't know anybody at the time.
What?
Dude.
That's where they have rehearsals at?
No, not normally.
Okay.
Not normally, but it was the situation where the guy managing the band, his name's Mike. He's still one of my best friends. He, it was his sister owned a Thai restaurant and a Thai massage parlor that she had taken over from her mom. Her mom had passed away, so she inherited everything. And then Mike helped run the Thai massage place.
And they just had a
So after hours, when it would close, we would clear out the lobby.
Okay.
Put everything in the hallway back to where the massage rooms were, and then we would set up a full band's worth of equipment. So I move out there, and within the first week, I'm like, okay.
Were people going by at night and going what is going on?
They could probably
the massage parlor?
They could maybe hear something outside, but it was in a strip mall.
Okay.
There's a ton of those. Every street corner in LA has a strip mall.
Yes.
With a donut shop and a 7-Eleven.
Or a Masubi place. Oh my god.
But yeah, so I get out there, I start doing that, and fast forward, that band didn't last that long, or some things changed where he went a different direction. I ended up not in that band anymore. Pete, neither. And then I started playing in a band with this Australian girl who I was a pretty firm part of her project for 5 years or so. And then, so at this point, I'm in the music scene out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of singer-songwriter-y, I guess, rock. It was kind of rock. It was almost like a 70s, 80s rock. I don't know. It was strange. I'm going
to look some of this up. It's got to be on YouTube or something.
There's some footage. But it was just so what I came from was punk and metal, right?
Right.
So I grew up playing in punk bands, metal bands, and the last band I had been in that toured, like, it was metal. So, like, the shows are all, like, you've been to a rock show, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
It's all high energy and, like, the crowd's going nuts and, like, it's just chaos. And I loved that. I was like, that was, like, the energy I wanted to be around.
And that wasn't it.
And it wasn't it. Yeah. Like, you would go to play these shows, and we're going and we're playing at all these, you know, some famous, some not so famous LA venues.
Yeah.
And you're going there, and it's just all the other people in the music scene watching you, and no one's, like, cutting loose like that. Everyone's just kind of, like, arms crossed, like...
Oh, man, that's got to be tough. And, like, for you to know, like, this isn't really my scene.
Well, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I was just like, I don't know, like, how or where I fit into this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I came from metal, dude. I like, you know.
So how'd you transition out of it?
So what happened was, well, it was funny, too, because... the way I stumbled into the electronic thing was because I saw, like, a Vine video.
Vine.
Do you remember Vine?
Oh, I remember Vine. Just a little bit of it.
Yeah, so there was, like, 2 guys on Vine. It was the Saw Dude thing. You ever seen that? Saw Dude. Saw Dude.
Yep.
So we were, like, sending those back and forth. And that was with, like, Randy and those guys.
Yes.
Like, we were all, like, laughing about this, like, these stupid videos. But then I got curious, and I was like, well, who are these guys?
Right.
So the one guy's Nick Coletti, just, like, comedy guy. And then I find out the other guy is this DJ named Getter. And I'm like, huh. And I had never really been interested in that music at all, until, like, my sister, I remember, do you remember, like, that Skrillex Justin Bieber song that was, like, really big back in, like, 2015? Like that, where are you now that I need you? It was like it was like the song of the summer that year. I remember.
I'm sure if you heard
it, you would recognize it. You'd be, oh yeah, that song.
Yep.
My sister, like, would play that, and I'm like, I don't get this. Like, music made on computers. I'm like, anybody can do that. That's easy, right?
You think, and then you dive
Fast
into
forward, you know, years later, you know, like 2019 or something. I think this was maybe. 2018. So I start listening to that Getter guy after seeing that video, just like, oh, this guy's a producer, DJ, he makes music, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just out of sheer curiosity, like, look up his music on Spotify, and then, like, I listened to one of his big songs that actually ended up, it was a release he had put out on Skrillex's record label.
Yeah.
So these guys are all, like, intertwined, right? In that whole world. And I hear this song, and, like, everything just, like, clicked. It just made sense in my brain finally, where I'm like, oh, now I get this music. And then I went down the rabbit hole of like, when I discovered metal, it was like you find that, like, one band, and then all of a sudden you start finding all these, like, subgenres of, like, oh, there's this kind of metal, there's, like, metalcore, and then there's death metal, and then, you know, it just never ends.
Right.
And it's the same goes for any style of music. So when I found electronic music, it was, like, the same thing. Like, it was something I knew nothing about.
But you were super interested to dive into it.
Well, yeah, I heard something that, like, caught my ear in a different way. And then once it clicked and I understood it, I was like, oh, shit, that's cool. And then, like, I think, like, weeks after that, I just saw a show pop up.
Yep.
And it was him, Getter, and he was playing at Fonda Theater in Hollywood. And I went out to that show, and I was by myself. I was so curious about, like, what this was all about. And I go to this show.
Yep.
And then as the night progresses, like, the energy and everything, like, starts getting crazier. And then, like, when he goes on, like, it was, like, the most fun, crazy party.
Yes.
And then, like, the sound, like, everything. And, like, I just remember looking up at that stage, and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
That was, like, the turning point of, like, I can figure this out.
Well.
And then after that, then it was just, like, then I just dug, man. It was just, like, finding new music, figuring out how to use, I think I was on Logic, like Garage, everyone knows GarageBand. So, like, Logic is, like, GarageBand full version, essentially. So
that's just an audio interface, like, program with your computer.
Yep. A digital audio workstation. Duh.
You told me to use
Invest.
it, and I haven't used it yet for this.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Damn it.
We'll get there. So, yeah, I started learning that, and then I got to a certain point with using Logic and learning Logic where I started to realize like what was possible at the time for me using that program. And then I ended up getting Ableton, which is a different DAW.
Yep.
And once I got that, then it was like my brain just connected more with the way that program is set up. I mean, you probably run into the same thing with like video editing, right?
I've used other, like, what do you mean?
Like just like how the programs are.
Yeah.
So like if you take, what, iMovie?
I started on, what did I start on? I used some weird GoPro software at first.
Oh yeah.
But then went to CapCut.
CapCut's good.
I love CapCut. Yeah. Everyone shits on it, but I love it.
No, it works good.
Oh, so CapCut Mobile, I think hands down is the best mobile editor you can have.
Yeah, easily.
But then
the desktop version's good too.
It's not bad. I like it a lot. Yeah, and I use DaVinci now, and I think it's a little more advanced. Like there's a lot more nuances you can control, like color wise too. It has all these different pages, which has an audio page, which I tried picking it gets deep. That's like the one page where I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'll call him and go, hey man, and I'll just get my brain racked every time we're talking. Like, okay, let me try this. So have implemented some stuff. I think last episode messed with the EQ and stuff, and I think that audio sounded a little bit better, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
but no,
it's a long and painful process.
Right, but yeah, I like.
It all intertwines. It intertwines into, I mean, just editing anything like media wise, video, audio, like visually and sound. Like, if I pull up a video on YouTube and it sounds bad, I won't watch it.
Dude, I feel like that's very commonly accepted. It's like you can have shit quality in a video, but if your audio is like spot on, you'll stay retained. But if it's the opposite way, where you have shit audio and
then the visual looks
good quality, like 8K, no one's gonna watch it after.
Yeah, but then the sound's like all blown out and messed up.
No, I get it. Oh, should have turned that.
Oh, you're all good,
dummy.
But no, so like that's like going back to that whole thing. That's how I became like more interested in that side of everything, because I'd always mostly been a live performer,
right,
and spent more of my time just like playing shows and not a lot of time in studios or like creating music by myself.
You do shows now, right?
Yeah, I DJ. Yeah,
you do DJ.
I DJ. That's kind of like my main focus now, like of doing anything music wise, is that, because number one, it's something I can do by myself.
It looks fun as hell on your reels and stuff.
It is fun. It is. Well, and it's the fun part for me is like having an idea, and then having the knowledge and the tools to like put it into the computer and make it something that's like cohesive.
There's so many buttons on. Okay, what do you call the huge?
What you DJ on?
Yep, I'm gonna have a lot of phrases in here that you're probably gonna be like, this idiot. But I have no idea in this space.
So that's the funny thing about all that is it's a lot simpler than anyone can wrap their head around.
There's so many buttons.
It's like when you see a DJ play like one of those big shows, there's like lights, there's screens, and he's up there and he's playing this music, and what you're hearing is like, you hear all this stuff layered, like there's this acapella over this rock thing, but like the drums are like hip hop.
Yep.
And you think he's doing all that in real time on the controller, right?
I do think he's doing all that in real time.
That's what people think. That's all made beforehand.
Oh, man.
Not to disappoint you. There's a few DJs
I'm cutting that out. We're going to keep the mystique alive.
Yeah. Well, it's in some instances, like there's a few guys out there who do it live.
There's some Instagram accounts that I see, like they'll mix everything like on the spot.
Yeah.
Like they'll loop it and then just keep
and then they keep adding stuff, and they get like insane. There's guys that'll get 4 different tracks playing at the same time and working over one another. I don't know how to do that in real time, but what I do know how to do is I know how to do that on a computer in a program, and then I know how to make that one track where you just hit play on it, and then you make a bunch of those, and then you just go back and forth between all of them and make it cohesive. But like those controllers, honestly, like what they have in the clubs and the learning curve of those controllers and learning how to use them, it is pretty steep.
Yep.
And when you get up on one of them setups where there's the 4 players and a mixer in the middle,
yep,
dude, it feels like you're trying to fly the Millennium Falcon.
Dude.
It's nuts. Well, there's so much, and if you haven't spent time on that setup, you are like a fish out of water.
Dude, I look at my little audio page on DaVinci, and it's like, it's got probably like 25 buttons on it.
Right.
And then you look at something like that, and you're like,
so essentially, all that is just everything in one place. Well, no, and it's funny too, and that was one of the big appeals to me was, so that setup, all you have to show up with is your headphones in a bag.
Kind of like you did, and then we're not even using your headphones.
And I'm not even using them. And then I have most of the music. I'm bumping the window.
Hey, you're fine.
I have most of the music that I would play in a situation on one of these USBs.
Those are some slick looking USBs
these
too.
Are good.
Oh, let me see that.
Yeah, here.
Dude. These are the nicest looking USB drives.
I need new ones. They get all bent up from being in my pocket all the time. But hey, you never know.
Oh, so sleek. It's just
you never know when someone's gonna need you to DJ, right?
Yeah. I was actually gonna ask you to do a little private show in here, so
you trying to blow the walls off the ice castle.
I wish I had a better sound system in here, to be honest.
It comes stock with something though.
Yeah, I mean they're on the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of cool. You can, if someone's sleeping up there, you can just have the speakers back here working, vice versa, or both.
Oh, that's cool.
I wish it had a little more
bass.
Yeah, exactly.
No subwoofer.
But I'm not blowing like.
Yeah.
I do think, fishing wise, like it would be nice in the summer.
You'd probably scare the fish away.
You'd definitely scare the fish away.
With the vibrations of a
absolutely. If we were bumping
or you
here,
draw them in.
Tip ups would be like a mile away.
Yeah. Everyone's like, what? If you're in a group where there's all this shacks, there's like, why are there no fish over
away.
Here? Yeah, but do you hear that bass, dude?
Sounds good, don't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
No, I'm sure those shows just get crazy.
It gets rowdy, man. It gets rowdy.
I went to one EDM festival in Phoenix, and that was the first time I ever experienced the kind of electric music in person.
And the sound system, and then when you feel those subwoofers, like,
yeah,
dude, that's what like caught me right out the gate.
It was a lot of freaking fun, man.
Yeah,
like
you don't even have to like. Everyone like has the misconception that everybody's there to just do drugs, and that's not really the case. Like,
God, who does that?
Yeah, right. Or like drink or whatever. But I've met a lot of people that, and the same goes for me, is I just like truly really love that music.
I do too.
Where I'm just like, I like.
Like I can't listen to that like as I'm just chilling out.
Yeah.
I can listen to it when I'm like in the gym or something.
Oh, it's
love
perfect
it
for that. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
But like just
it's very
hanging out driving, I'm like,
yeah,
not there.
It's very situational.
Yeah.
Dude, in that truck you rolled up in, I would have been worried if that music was playing in that kind of truck. That's like 90s country only.
I know. Just Alan Jackson. That's it. There's one CD in
that's
there.
all I want to. Is that? Do you really have that in there?
No.
I wish you
I
did.
should. Though.
I would steal it.
No, but it's on classic. It's on GMO.
Oh, I love GMO.
Yeah. But no, I'm thankful my father-in-law let me use his little spare truck while my plow truck is in the shop.
How did that happen?
Dude, actually, I was
probably plowing.
No. Well, it was
plowing's rough on.
Oh, it's so rough. It's so rough on it, but. Thankfully, situational. I was going to the grocery store. I was on 70, going like 60, and then I'm going and I kind of feel
45 like everyone else.
Yeah, no kidding. I feel this little like, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. That didn't really sound right. So I pulled off on Y, and immediately, like as I'm in the turn, like going like 10 miles an hour, like. Wheel bearing exploded in it.
The whole
and
thing
like,
came off.
No, not the wheel came off.
Oh, really?
Looked at it and my wheels like jacked. So it like messed up my brakes because the caliper
messed up everything.
Yeah, and like I lost control and I just casually stopped. So Thankfully, it wasn't happening when I was going mock Jesus. So.
Or in the middle of the road.
Oh, I know. Man, I got super fortunate with that, but yeah, Derek Meyer has it right now, and
hopefully he gets it fixed up quick for you.
I think now he's just and then I blew a leaf spring too, so
that thing doesn't cost too much too.
I don't even want to know what the bill is, but
I don't even want to know.
Worth it, man. He's good. Derek Meyer, great mechanic.
Now there's another sponsor.
Yeah. I'll mention you on my show if you fix my truck.
If you fix my truck for free.
No way, man, dude. He's a wizard, and he's super close to my house too. So
that's perfect. Yeah,
nice.
Well, that's what always blew me away about. I mean, everybody that works construction here that I've known my whole life is trade during the spring, summer, fall, and then what do you do all winter?
You do this.
Well,
I was just
you do this.
I was just working with your boys. I was filming them actually, and they all miss you.
Oh, I know. I miss those guys. We had fun. That was some of the most fun I've ever had on job sites.
Dude, I was there for one day, and that seemed like a pretty fun crew.
Did you hear any singing?
No.
Oh,
They have voices of angels or what?
Dave's not a bad singer.
No? Okay.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. Not a lot of people know that about Dave.
I hope the people who hired me are happy with their video. I hope Engstrom's happy with their video, and I can do more.
I'm sure they will be. It looked cool.
Yeah. And you got a little sneak preview.
Yeah. No, it's cool to see you doing that kind of work where it's okay, I've done this work my whole life.
It was, dude,
and now I'm shooting it.
Man, it was so weird. It was so weird on my end because, oh my God, Mark was, because I knew the process. I knew exactly what they were gonna do.
Yeah. It looked like they were doing soffit and fascia.
Yeah, slapping up Jay and stuff, and there was a time where Mark was leaning a 12-footer up, and I'm sitting there filming. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. Let me help you a minute, post it up.
Wait, sugar danced it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that's what it is. Sugar dancing is. Doing other people's job.
No, it's two guys doing a one-person job.
That's sugar dance.
That's what sugar dancing is.
I'm glad we cleared that up. But it was cool, man. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, is I would film my own construction stuff. I don't think I've ever said that ever clarified that. Leaf and Lumber. Yeah. Leaf and Lumber is me. I always.
So you're doing two jobs at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus, I mean, it's hard enough focusing on a construction project.
Oh, dude. Then videoing
just by itself, and then having to plan shots and film everything. Yeah,
filming yourself is just a whole nother animal.
I was just talking to Randy about that, because he was telling me that he wants, because they film all their duck hunting stuff, right?
Yeah, he just messaged me this morning and asked, if I was interested, and hell yeah, I'm interested in filming duck hunts.
They do cool stuff too. Yeah, but we were talking about how going out hunting and then filming stuff are two completely different thought processes.
Right.
And he said he's I gotta find somebody to film this stuff because I'm exhausted. I'm gassed every time when I get home, and then you have to clean ducks.
Yeah.
And then think about editing.
Then edit all that shit. Yeah.
And it's just excuse me.
Yeah.
It's just too much work at the end of the day. Yeah. Shooting, I haven't shot that much stuff personally, but I've been around how intensive that can get.
Yeah.
And it's such an ordeal. And it's you need one person where
dedicated,
they're dedicated, and their brain is the brain that is thinking about that process.
Yeah.
Versus I don't hunt. I've never hunted, but I can imagine it's very you got to be very present, right?
Yeah.
And you got to be in the moment so you can pay really close attention to everything that's happening in real time.
Yeah.
Same goes for shooting, but there's the creative aspect of it that's happening in real time as well.
Right. And then if you're hunting too, everyone wants to see the kill shot, really.
Yeah.
But are you really thinking about the filming it in the moment? Not, I wouldn't say really.
No, so I can imagine nice. Bouncing back and forth in your head. That must I kind of put that together when he was talking about it, and I was just yeah, I don't know how you've like done that for so many years and like.
Yeah, he had like that channel. I looked up the channel and.
Yeah, they started like
33,000.
Yeah, they started blowing up for a while. And
yeah,
I'm like that's just because your footage and your audio is good, man. Like that goes back to what we were talking about. Like he got a decent camera and.
He said he sold his. He's just doing GoPro stuff because that was the one thing where I was like.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you have a rate?" And I'm like, "Let me really think about this because I think the environment I'd be shooting in, it would be like something it'd take its toll on the equipment." So I'm like,
and there'd be a higher chance of it like like you're in the water.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, do I want to risk that with my cameras here? Mm-hmm. I'm like, not really, but also I'm like, hell yeah, I want to film duck hunting. Like that sounds amazing. That sounds right up my alley.
So he asked me one time if I wanted to get in on that because I kind of understand how to shoot things and like what looks good and what doesn't. Yeah. And he asked me to do it, and I was like, let's what time we meeting? 7? He's like, no, we got to get out there at 3 a.m. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm like, 3 a.m., dude? Are you kidding me?
Dude,
but that's the labor of love those guys put into that.
Yeah. Anything outdoor wise, like what time we leave?
Yeah, well, that's the same. Like when I was hiking, like I'm like,
yes.
If I even want to get a parking spot at some of those, like you had to get out there at like 5 a.m.
Yes.
Before the sun comes up.
I remember your trail name, or I hope I do. It's Conan, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want the story? Did I ever tell you how I got it?
Because you liked Conan the Barbarian?
Kind of, yeah. Okay, so...
All right, guys, quick segment here. We're going to thank some sponsors. First off, there's Fights Backwoods Beer and Bait, located in Fallon, right off of 70. If you can show him that you subscribe to my channel and like his Facebook, he'll give you 10% off anything in the store, except for booze. Then there's Ken's Affordable Auto in Siren. Not just a dealership, he also fills propane tanks. Then we got Throttle RX in Danbury. If you're looking at exploring the Northwoods, you can rent his side-by-sides or pontoons, and if you use the code 2SCOOPS, you'll get an exclusive discount. Then there's Leaf and Lumber Construction, specializing in decks and fences. So I'll leave everyone's link in the description below, and thank you. Back to the show.
So that all happened when I was in Arizona.
Yes.
When I got that wild idea to...
Dude, and you were filming that for YouTube too, your hikes.
I kind of did.
Yeah.
I wasn't like... So when I went out there, I like tried to like vlog it a bit, but I just like, I didn't feel like, I don't know. Like you got to feel like so comfortable, like talking to your own phone.
Yeah.
While doing that kind of stuff. And like those people, there's a lot of people who do it who are just naturally really good at that. I'm just like, I tried it, but it's like...
I feel like you get better at it. Like,
you do.
I struggle with that with my construction videos. And then as time got on, I feel like...
It becomes second nature. It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's definitely a skill. And so I like kind of started doing that. And then the more I was around people, like I kind of like felt a little embarrassed. Like if you just pull out your phone and you're like, yo, what's up? So I'm on this part of the trail.
And there's like 7 people around you. Yeah, and I'll never be comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. But there's people who do it and like feel completely fine doing it.
Dude,
and like I don't think it's weird. I'm like, that's cool that you're documenting something that's unique.
There's an Instagram page that I follow. It's called Influencers in the Wild.
Oh yeah.
Do you watch that? It is super cringy.
I saw a lot of that.
It's hilarious, and I like watching that stuff.
Well, like when you're doing like a hike or like something outdoors, like that's worth capturing. But when you're just somebody who's at a mall shopping at the Grove in West, or where is that? Beverly Hills. Like that's where I've seen stuff like that. Like,
where you're like,
oh, I'm just blah, blah, and I'm
you're in the middle of a crosswalk holding up traffic, and you're like, blah blah blah. I'm here with.
It's like no, you're just a person existing in a city.
Get out of here.
But I mean, aside from that, like I documented a lot of it. I took a lot of photos, and well, to explain what I did to the viewers, I thru hiked the Arizona Trail. I think that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Would that be 2019? I don't know what year it is anymore.
25.
It was either like 4 or 5 years ago. It was the end of COVID. We had worked together.
Yeah.
And we were talking about stuff like that before I went out there to do that. And I was like kind of gearing up to try and do the Ice Age Trail. in Wisconsin.
Right, like the full.
Yeah, I wanted to do the full thing, and I started like poking around on the internet that winter and like obtaining gear. Like that's half the battle is like getting everything you need to do something like that.
Right.
And I started poking around at like, well, it's the middle of winter. It's like kind of the end of winter.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm still not working because it's like whatever's going on.
Yep.
And what's a trail? I start looking. What's a trail you can do? Well, it's so cold, like kind of winter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
were you planning to do the Ice Age Trail like beginning to end?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to winter camp and everything. No,
I wouldn't do it in the winter.
Oh, come on.
No, that's not for me. I love hiking and I love outdoor stuff, but like that winter stuff is just like that. Dude, that year a girl hiked the entire Ice Age Trail, like winter hiked the whole thing. Crazy.
Do you think she'd tent camp or hammock or?
I will say, like with the time, like we're getting a little off topic, more Ice Age Trail.
Yeah.
We'll get back to Arizona.
Yes.
But I've done the first 180 miles of the Ice Age Trail.
Yep.
And like each trail, I would say has its own set of challenges.
Okay.
That are different per trail, just based on like what the environment's like.
Okay.
And kind of like how the trail's set up. And the Ice Age Trail is like really underdeveloped.
Right.
Like there's a lot of like road sections and stuff. Like I think there's like a 40-mile road walk at some point. That's just like put your head down, get the work done kind of thing.
Yep.
Although there are some beautiful places like out on roads in the middle of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We live in I don't live here currently technically, but
no.
Born and raised here. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah.
Like the entire state, like
I would say like I think middle Wisconsin gets kind of boring.
Yeah. But there's beauty to be found in places where there's no people and just nature.
Yep.
I mean, driving through some of it sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. I'm basing that off of the highway.
When you're the process of like walking through something is a much different experience than it's just a way different way to travel. It's like the most like it's even way different than riding a bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're just walking.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
Peaceful.
It
very
is
stoic.
It's I don't know. It feels like a connection to the way life was a very long time ago.
Just slowing her down.
Well, yeah, it's like how did people get places before they even had wagons or like the 1800s? They just walked.
In like the shittiest shoes, probably.
Or probably no shoes.
No shoes.
Just Hobbit style.
Just like half-inch thick of calluses.
Well, yeah, on the bottom of your feet.
Oh,
brutal. Yeah. But so like the Ice Age Trail, the biggest challenge I found was like finding places to camp.
Yep.
So there's a lot of like logistical things that happen where you like start a day out and you're like, okay, I think I'm going to camp at this place. And most of the time I would get to a campsite and I'd be like, like this is the campsite, really?
Yeah.
It'd just be some like backwoods thing, like next to a crappy lake
that
you can hardly get down into to get water because you got to wade through like cattails for this far before you can get a clean scoop, you know, like stuff like that.
Yep.
So Arizona, you don't really have that problem. Arizona, you feel like stopping for the day, you can set a tent up anywhere.
How do you... Is water more of an issue there?
Water's more of an issue there, for sure.
Oh, that's kind of important.
But the app I use to navigate that whole trail, like, is pretty intensive. Like, they have all the water sources and everything listed on the app.
Yeah.
So you kind of, like, can plan around that a little bit of, like... And figure out how much you need to carry for how many miles. Right. And you got to know, like, how much water you need as an individual.
That's got to be, like, the heaviest part of your gear. Is you got to trek water in.
Yep. If you have to dry camp for a night, you got to, like, load up 4 liters. Oof. Usually water source to camp at the end of a day, if you have to dry camp, is, like, you're wore out, your legs are tired. Yeah. Like,
all you want. Hey, what kind of food do you eat on there?
Is that a fish?
Possibly. We'll see if it...
Which, is this mine?
All of them are yours, man.
All of them are mine?
I'm not taking one. There's a guest here.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Do you know what you're doing?
What, with fishing?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
I'll figure it out, though.
Yeah.
It's in my blood.
It's in your blood.
I was cracking up every time Eli asked me to go fishing with him. I'm like, you don't want me to come fishing, dude. I'm like, it's in my blood, man. Larry Dahlberg.
Because he had his own fishing show.
Yeah. So a lot of people who are like avid fishermen know about him too, because he was like big into making baits, like lures.
Yep.
You ever heard of the Whopper Plopper?
Yes.
He invented that.
Get the.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
so
that.
That's my dad's brother, my Uncle Larry. So that's always my joke when everyone's like, "Let's go fishing." I'm just like,
okay,
I'll be better than you at it just by default.
Well, here's the little breakdown: is firmly but gentle, just reel it up, just hand, so not reel it. Okay, sorry. Here, yep. Grab the line.
So if it starts tugging,
yep.
Is there something on there?
There's a minnow on there.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, and just
here's a funny story. The last time I went ice fishing was with Randy.
Was it?
A long time ago. And we didn't really do much ice fishing.
Just drank?
But I don't know if we were drinking at the time or not. We were pretty young, but I remember him swallowing minnows and throwing them back up over and over. And
what?
I don't know, it was hilarious. He'd just go, watch this.
Yeah.
And then swallow it. And
were they like little?
Yeah, they were small,
okay.
but it was
like shiners or something.
No, he would do it, and then he would like spit it back out, and then still be alive.
Oh,
and I was like, what?
There's somewhere that has like a minnow, at some bar has a minnow shot. I don't know
where you have to like drink a minnow.
It's a shot glass with I don't know what liquor's in it, but yeah, they drop a minnow in it
and you slug
everything whole. Yep.
Do you have to like just?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, you probably feel it.
Like it would, and it would die and disintegrate after a certain like stomach acid.
Yeah.
God, weird.
But
Randy, dude.
But no, what kind of food did you eat on the trail?
So that was a little like trial and error at first. Of like, it's always one of those things where you always think you need way more than you do.
Yeah.
So thus, way too much weight on your back.
Yeah.
And then after you like get a ways into the trail, then you're like, okay, well, this is kind of what I have. Like, you kind of start to monitor what you really need to eat per day, and then every time you resupply, I should probably explain it for everyone listening. But okay, so I thru hiked the Arizona Trail back in 2018, 2019.
Yep.
So 800-mile trail from the Mexico border, south to north through the entire state of Arizona to the Utah border.
Yep.
So I thru hiked the whole thing in one go, and I learned a lot the hard way.
Yeah, dude, that's the best way to learn.
It is the best way to learn.
Mistakes,
and I learned a lot just from other hikers that were out there who had done longer trails.
Yep.
Like I met this woman that had hiked the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail, which that's considered
the longest,
the Triple Crown of hiking.
Yep. Do you get a patch or something, or like
you get like hiker
cred?
That's serious hiker cred if you have your Triple Crown. This lady had done all that before any like paper, like she used paper maps to navigate it was before like thru hiking was popular. This lady was a badass.
She's a pioneer.
She was a badass, dude.
I'm picturing like a really burly, like.
She like kind of. She was from Maine, and she was out there. She had her 13-year-old daughter with her, through hiking that whole trail with her.
It's a good bonding experience.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. Or God, I hate doing this. Why do you drag me on these trips?
I want to go home, Mom.
No, she like, and I got to know them a little bit, like just from bumping into them on trail, and like they ended up like I saw online they finished. I think after I did, but she got like commemorated for youngest person to ever thru hike that whole trail, which I thought was cool.
What's the longest trail you can do in the U.S.?
I could just I'll break this down for everyone listening, but and a lot of people just don't know about this stuff.
Oh,
you know a little bit.
A little bit, but not.
So there's so like everyone knows about like the national parks, right? Like there's Arches and Grand Canyon and Yosemite, like stuff like that. So there's 11 trails, long distance hiking trails in the country that are national scenic trails. So I think they're protected by that same foundation.
Yeah.
I would assume. I don't know that much about that, but so the Ice Age Trail here in Wisconsin is one of those 11 trails, along with the PCT, the CDT, and the AT, the Triple Crown ones. But there's one called the North Country Trail that actually goes through. It goes through Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Okay.
But it starts in, I think it's 4,600 miles. It's the longest one in the country.
It's 4,600 miles?
It's pretty serious. I would never want to do it.
Oh my God, man.
This guy I follow on YouTube set the fastest known time for through hiking the whole thing. He like went out there.
It took him like 5 years?
No, he did it. It's considered a calendar year. It's considered a 4 seasons hike.
Yep.
Like it takes.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, it takes a whole year to do. Where
like backpacking gear is super weight driven. Like
you gotta go. Yeah, you gotta be ultra lightweight.
Yeah.
If you want to like make any sort of time.
Yeah.
And also there's like you do want to have a certain level of comfort depending on what kind of environment you're hiking in. Like Arizona, granted the terrain was really difficult at times. A lot of the other aspects of it were easy.
Do you deal with any, like poisonous shit?
Like animals?
Yeah.
That's funny because I got asked that so much before I decided that. Like, why aren't you worried about snakes and scorpions? And
well, I mean, I'm sure you knew they were there.
I know they're there.
Did you run into any?
Dude, I hiked 800 miles across that whole state.
Yeah.
And I didn't see a single rattlesnake.
Perfect.
I was just like dumbfounded.
I'm actually like shocked.
I still am. I have seen rattlesnakes hiking in California though.
Yeah.
Like up in the mountains and stuff. Like they're there.
Yeah.
And they let you know they're there.
Yeah. That's just kind of nice.
Yeah. At least you get a little bit of a warning sound. Like, but yeah, I've never had any like real problems with anything.
That's good.
Like that.
That's good.
Granted, I haven't done nearly as much hiking as, other people, but I guess I've done more than the normal person.
Oh, absolutely.
So, there are, bears. That's a concern in certain places. Here, I'm not as concerned because black bear
are pretty much afraid of you, way more afraid
of you. Yeah,
you.
you can spook and they're kind of dopey. And
I should say, well, hold on. No, if you get a mom bear, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think they're just like, see you, bye.
Yeah. Yeah. And they kind of just run away and go like do their own thing. But so like the CDT, which Continental Divide that goes through the Rockies, like New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming. Yeah. And then I think it weaves in between Idaho and Montana.
I think so.
So the section, I know for a fact, the section of that goes through Glacier, you have to carry a bear canister for your food, and you have to carry bear mace.
Yeah.
And
super effective.
Have you used it before?
No, like we've had it with us when we were like camping. So I kind of did a deep dive and like, does this actually work?
It's more effective than anything else.
Everything that I saw was like, oh, this is no joke. Oh my gosh, man. I got to tell you this quick story with bear spray. So when I was younger.
I bet it's like human mace, but probably worse.
Yeah.
It's probably
just more. It's probably the same thing, but just like more volume.
Yeah.
But we were camping it was like a church thing.
Uh-huh.
But it was like separate because like the canoe people would go do their own thing. And all of a sudden we get like woken up. This was when I was like 13 or something. So we get woken up by our counselor like, hey, we got to go to the road. We had an emergency. I'm like, what's wrong? And then like we found out that the toiletries were in the same bag as the bear spray. The bear spray leaked out on the toiletries. And the lady counselor did her business. And
oh no,
it was all on that, man.
That was probably a trip to the hospital or something.
Didn't see her after that.
Ever again?
I'm not saying she died or anything. I'm just like she's gone. Like it was just us and the.
Oh, they hauled her out of there. She had problems. Oh yeah, she had problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that stuff I guess is pretty serious. So there was some statistic that there's a section of that trail where they dump off grizzly bear. It's like a reserve or something, but it's part of the trail that you have to hike through where there are.
Do they know that before they like sanction that off? Like, hey, this is where we're gonna dump bears. They're like, well, it's actually right where the trail's going. Yeah,
right through here. Yeah. No, so they
keep everyone on their toes.
It's like I've heard it talked about by hikers, and they're like bear canister, bear mace, like be on your guard. But the statistic was in that specific area, there are more grizzly bear per square mile than human beings.
I bet.
Which is like,
yeah,
whoa. And like, so you say like black bear, they're kind of whatever. I've heard, I've never experienced that. Don't ever want to. Grizzly bear can be a different story.
Oh yeah. I had one encounter with a brown bear, just basically the same thing, just coastal.
Are there brown bear around here?
No.
Or is this somewhere else?
This is in Alaska.
When were you in Alaska?
That's where I was born. Half my family lives there. And anyway, so I
didn't know that.
I
thought you were from Hawaii.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I get that a lot.
I know.
So I lived in Alaska for a while, and then finally got my residency.
Where in Alaska?
Sitka.
So like what the brand is named after?
I don't know if that has any
correlation.
Yeah.
No.
But just south of Juneau, just southeast Alaska.
Okay.
And had my residency so we could do things that only residents can do, and it was dip netting, where you basically have a musky net, and you're just like scooping out salmon
that are running. How old were you when you were doing this?
I was like 13.
That's kind of a crazy experience.
Yeah. But the
13-year-old.
Yeah, I know. I was with my uncles, and I was I shouldn't say it was really an encounter. So we're at this river mouth, and I'm 13, got that thing, just scooping out salmon, and I like hear this huge thing fucking rustling through the woods, and it just like boom right up beside me, probably 15 feet from me, and I don't know if anybody's seen in person an Alaskan brown bear, but they're like bigger than fucking cows. They're huge, and you can smell the thing. You just like hear it breathing, and
I bet it's like a presence of energy.
Holy shit, man! I remember just shaking in my boots, and I'm like looking at everybody because like there's like 40 people around this river.
Yeah,
and I'm like looking at everybody. I'm like, is nobody gonna address the literal like elephant in the room here?
Yeah.
And I like grab my uncle, and like I'm locked up. Like I like grab my uncle, and I'm like, do you see this right now?
Do you see this bear right
now?
And
he basically was just like, hey man, he's here for the same thing we are. Like, don't mess with him. He won't mess with you.
Yeah.
And that was it. So
it's like
not really an encounter. It's
like a risk. And the funny thing with animals is like people always ask me, like when I go out and do like hikes and stuff like that, they're like, well, what about a gun? Like, if a bear ever came at me, what's a gun gonna do? What's a handgun?
I feel like the spray is probably more effective than anything. Yeah,
the spray is the only chance you have.
Gun would probably be more for humans, probably.
More. That's what it would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, you're in the middle of the woods. Like,
yeah,
what kind of human are you gonna run into out there? That's either like it's gonna be somebody who's also hiking.
Yep.
Or using that trail to hunt somewhere.
Yeah. Right.
Which they're focused on, not.
And those guys get super like anal about grams in their pack, and then add a weapon in there. Like,
a gun's just extra
2
weight.
pounds. Yeah.
Like if you were gonna hike 2,000 miles, why add something that's like a pound or two? Like I don't know how much a handgun weighs, but
like 2
pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something you're never gonna use, or the chances of using are like 99.9%.
Yeah.
That you would use it, and you're going to carry that over that many miles. It doesn't add up.
Right.
Like obviously you want to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And be ready for unpredictable scenarios. But I feel like there's probably a better option. Like if I was hiking in a bear area and had bear mace, and a guy came up to me with ill intentions.
Yes.
I just hit him with the bear mace.
Yeah. Pretty. I don't know. This kind of hits home with me, but like I'm a huge like CCW supporter. Like I love concealed carry. So I would definitely like if I was roaming that way, I'd still have it. Usually have it with me.
Yeah.
everywhere I go.
It's really personal preference.
Right.
It's like me as a person, I'm like, I don't feel like I need something like that.
It's just one of, like, for me, it's one of those, it's just like condom theory to me. It's like, better to have one, not need it, than to need it and not have it in a very specific scenario.
Yeah, it really boils down to like what the scenario is. And,
right.
I think for me, I like to believe that more people have good intentions than bad.
Oh, I think so too.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I try to, maybe I rely on it too heavily. Maybe I don't. I don't know.
Right.
But you can kind of tell, like, if you meet somebody and they're like, something, you can tell if something's off, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like,
and then just fucking get away from the situation.
That's your choice. Just get rid of the situation. Like,
exactly. Like, your situational awareness is your biggest tool for mitigating anything that will put you in a position of distress. I think that is by far
100%.
the best tool you have in our society right now is just your situational awareness. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, it's your decision whether, like, there's so much horrible stuff going on nowadays anyways. It's like, well, there's this happening here and this happening here, but it's like, your choice to involve yourself in whatever those situations are, like, that's totally on you. Right. It's like, it's a pretty, like, black and white answer.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
don't go there, man.
I don't live in the best neighborhood in Minneapolis right now. Like, so did I ever tell you about that?
No, I knew you, like, obviously I knew you moved to the cities, but I didn't really know where.
I got a job at that closet company, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for apartments around where the shop is. I end up finding an apartment building that's pretty nice. It was built in the 2000s.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like looking around. I'm like, well, this neighborhood's fine. Like, this is like you go up to Lake Street there, and it's like, it's a little, like, you get the metro nonsense, like the crazy people that are just riding around on public transportation all the time. Oh man,
my buddy has some awesome stories about those.
Dude, I rode the train from the airport one time, and like, I'm like, oh, this is fine. And then as soon as you leave the terminal and you get to the first stop,
get me out of here.
No, I'm like, oh god, here we go.
Dude, could you just, like, maybe that might be an experience, is just go on there one day and just people watch.
It gets I don't know, like, it gets a little.
I would definitely be carrying it.
Well, yeah, that would be a situation where it's like, yeah, maybe.
Brett, you bring your bear mace.
Well, yeah, I think there's just like, what I witnessed was like people clearly on drugs, and they came into the train. They had a speaker like blasting in the train, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh, do you ever get the people, or not even on the train, but just in general, it could be like at a supermarket, on the plane, they're just like doom scrolling, and then their phone is just like on the loudest. It's like, dude, I know you know what headphones are.
I don't know what that is. I've thought a lot about that. I'm like,
what are you doing?
Well, my thing is like, almost, it's an awareness of the fact that there's other people around you who are also living lives.
Yeah.
Who, like, everybody wants things their own way wherever they are, and like, I feel like it's important to make a point to acknowledge that.
Right.
It's as just a form of respect, right? Of, like,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm here, you're here.
Yeah.
We're both humans. We're both trying to live in our probably extremely different ways. Like, why? It's just weird to me that it's like I would never in a million years, like, because of that fact, like, be sitting there watching TikTok with the volume all the way up. So I'm like, my head, I go, well, that guy probably doesn't want to hear all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's just some people that,
I don't know.
Is it a lack of self-awareness? Is it?
Is that like a norm in your?
It could be like a cultural thing sometimes too. Like, I ran into a lot of that in LA. Like, just different people from different places, like, operate in a different way.
Oh,
and like, it ends up getting to the point where it's like, they don't know they're doing things that way. It's just
once you realize that that's their cultural norm.
Yeah,
you're like,
it's like Asian cultures. Like, it's embedded in DNA in those countries to just be jammed in places.
Dude, no
together.
Personal space.
No, not at all. And then, like, people that grew up in places like here, like where we grew up, we're used to just not being around a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen it with people from here who live here, and then you bring them even to Minneapolis, and they're like, oh, this person's too close to me. It's like, no, there's 3 feet away. That's nothing. I'm like,
you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah.
But, and then, some places you go and people run right into you and not give it any attention, and then you kind of just feel offended about it.
Right.
But that boils down to kind of what we were just talking to. I'm like, it's my choice whether I want to react to that or not.
Yep.
And I got to the point where I was kind of just like...
Sometimes that's harder than you think, like...
To just not... Well, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's a kind of a test of, like, how fine you are with who you are, and then you realize that it's not about you. It's just a situation that happened. It's not anyone's fault.
Right.
It could have... They could have looked up from their phone and not ran into you. But how you react to that is also a testament of, like, your character, right?
Yeah. You know, I liked LA. I was just out there for Thanksgiving.
Your sister lives out there, right?
Yep.
Huntington
Beach. Yep.
That's a pretty area.
Freaking cool area.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That's way different than
like LA.
Where I lived, even. Well, every I don't know. It's so hard to, like, generalize, like, what LA is like, because everything's like, you can be in this neighborhood, like, you can be in Los Feliz and then go over to Hollywood. It's completely different.
I never made it to Hollywood. I wanted to. I was talked out of it pretty quick.
It's not like I never could wrap my head around. Like, people want to go see, like, the Chinese theater and the stars on the sidewalk, and then they don't show you all the other crazy stuff that's going on down there on television. Like, you just get the glamorized version of what it's like. And it is kind of cool, but it's like...
It would be one thing where I'd be like, I went there.
That's literally what it is. Yeah. It's like, you're not going to have... Like, if I ever went... Like, every time I go back out there, it's to, like, visit friends or, like...
shows?
Last time I went out there, my friend Pete, who I lived with, who I talked about, he had his birthday... I think it was his... Yeah, it was his birthday party. Dude, he has his garage converted into a studio, like a music studio. Yeah. And he turned it into a casino / nightclub.
Shut the...
Yeah, it was
like an underground casino?
Kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like... It was just, like, all friends and stuff, and, like, he let people buy chips and stuff, and then... But he invited me out. He's like, dude, you gotta come DJ this. So he, like, got all the DJ equipment and stuff. Yeah. And then I went out there and just, like... Oh, it was fun. At first, I was like, "Oh man, I haven't done this in a while," and blah blah blah. And then as the night went on, like, everyone started to, like, loosen up a little bit, and I kind of, like, was able to dig into the music I actually wanted to play, and then started getting a lot of responses. Like, that's always such a cool thing with DJing in that situation of, like, here's an empty room, full of people who are just here to have fun. Like, what can I do with music to make that happen?
Yeah, I'm sure there's, like. Or maybe I don't know this, but I would think when you first start a show, it's kind of like there's a moment where everyone, like, eases in, and then it probably gets to that, all right, everyone having fun, and then it just, like,
goes sky
crazy.
High.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's magical. It's like in those nightclubs, the way it would kind of work, like the places I was going a lot, where they would have, like, an opening DJ, and then usually, like, one or two other ones before the headliner.
Yep.
And, like, somebody who's conscious of, like, the role they're playing, like the opening set, like, he's not going to go balls to the wall.
Right.
His job is to, like, set the tone in the room, not play at, like, a lot of it is just, like, BPM, like, how, like, what is the vibe of the music, and, like,
beats per
minute. Yeah. Beats per minute. So, like, that's something DJs obviously use to, like, work around. Like, so if you start playing, like 128 house music is like, that's, like, high energy, that's going, but, like, it's moving, like, it's, like, it's much different than some, like, opening DJ should come in and play, like, if they're gonna play house music, they should be at, like, 118 BPM, like, there. And then if that's what the music is like the whole night, like, each DJ will be conscious of that up until the headliner, and they'll maybe start pushing the BPM like, as the night goes on. And then what they also do in those clubs is they have all the, like, lights and everything, the production. That will also intensify as the night goes on.
Are the lights in those shows not pre-recorded, but pre-programmed?
You're going to think this is cool.
Yeah.
So in most of those nightclubs, they have a guy who sits behind a rig.
They have a light guy.
So that
laser guy.
Yeah. Laser lights.
Laser guy.
Yeah. Dude, it's cool. So he's, like, not only is the DJ playing the music, this guy,
dude, please tell me he's
moving and hitting stuff in real time to the music.
Oh,
is that your dream?
I want to be a laser guy.
Yeah.
We're scrapping videos. We're gonna be laser guys.
The laser guy. So, but at the same time, he's controlling all the visuals.
Yeah.
On the screens and everything.
Right.
So, like,
because it's not just music; it's a whole experience. You got the lights, you got the overlay on the screen.
Yep. So he has. What would happen when I would get booked to play those shows is they'd have. I forget. You'd usually work with like the ones that were managed properly. There was like a liaison.
Yep.
Who would book you, and then when you would get to the club, that's who you would go to like just check in with, and they'd kind of like show you around if you hadn't been there before or whatever. Okay. But usually you would email them like if you have any like your logo PDF or whatever, right, and then your like visuals, pre-made visuals, you email them all that stuff beforehand.
Yep.
And then they make sure that gets to the lighting and visual guy.
Cool.
So he can like project it on the screens and everything.
That's so, nice streamline.
It's funny too because like a lot of people that go to like festivals and stuff, like they see all that. But
I think the average person sees that and just doesn't think of like what went in.
Yeah.
To everything.
Well, and then there's aside from that, there's a guy that spent time like usually, and I'm in the process of like thinking about doing that right now of like finding a guy who can make visuals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole world that I've never even like. I have a friend out in LA who was like kind of into that stuff. He helped me make some my first visuals I used, but he showed me what those programs do.
That is a lot of animation and a lot of CGI stuff, dude. It's
a whole different world. That's like
that'll even make your mind melt.
Yeah, that'll make your mind melt. It's more intense than like camera work, shooting, audio. It's like a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But that aside, it's like
it kind of bridges everything.
It really
truly digital.
Yeah. It puts everything together, and it's like it's crazy, dude. And it's been going on for a long time. I remember seeing like some really cool stuff even in the 90s when I was a kid. Like, do you remember, like, you think about like Toy Story?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think of animated TV shows and stuff when I was like Rocket Power.
Yeah.
Like, how in the hell was this stuff made?
Yeah. Have you ever seen how they did original episodes of South Park?
No.
It was all cardboard. They made They made cardboard cutouts.
And it was like claymation, like they would just.
It was stop motion.
Oh my goodness, that would take years, man.
To make one episode, and they had to like make all of it work with.
And then get the voices.
That's what I always wondered. I'm like, would they do the voices
right
to the video after, or would they do that before and then do the video? Like that's a whole nother thing. I
have no idea. We are back in, and we were on. We're on South Park episodes and stuff. Yeah. Cardboard cutouts, stop animation.
Oh, dude! So
it would take so long.
I watched. I mentioned the Thai restaurant and the
studio,
the Thai rehearsal. So I lived at that girl's house for quite a few years when I was out there. The girl who owned those places, and she was she went to college at American Film Institute and was involved in that world, and so. Other person I mentioned, Pete, he put out a record and was making a music video, and they did a stop motion film for his music video, and the song was I think 1.5 minutes long, and I think I saw them work on that every weekend for a good 3 months.
I believe it, man.
Every waking moment of every weekend.
Think of how many
they were cutting out cardboard pieces, and then like. The whole thing is like they put a camera over this box contraption with a light underneath, and then it's like move everything like the slightest bit, take a picture, move, and then it was just like, dude, it's just such a labor of love, and like, and then you think about old, like, do you remember Gumby?
No.
Gumby was some of the first, I think, claymation that was ever done.
I remember like Robot Chicken.
That was the same thing, but with like action figures, though, right? Yeah, Robot Chicken was.
It was bad. It was bad.
I mean, the humor was crude. It was hilarious. Yeah. But like anything that's like that, where it's just like small movement picture, it's like the attention and focus. And
I feel like
is nuts.
Like you said, like the regular Joe, like sees it and goes, "That's cool," but like, I don't think they realize how much time and effort went into that.
And that's how I feel about music all the time, is like I constantly like I always get in arguments with people where there's like, oh, that's bad music, like they suck, and I'm like, I don't believe that any music sucks. I think there's things that are your taste.
It's subjective too.
It's so subjective. Because it's like there's just things, like as an individual, there's things you're going to connect with and things you're just not going to connect with. And like musically, it's like a taste thing. It's really like you're going to like something for a certain reason if you connect with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, that doesn't mean it sucks.
Just sucks to you.
It just sucks to you, which means your taste probably sucks. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, I'm a student of music and of the craft of it, because I know from a production standpoint, every last little decision, like sometimes people make a great song and it was just completely flung together.
Yeah.
And sometimes people spend months to years trying to make a song perfect. Like some of the big pop hits you hear on the radio, they'll go through 13 different singers singing the same lyrics till they finally find the one person where they just like, that's what we were looking for. Now we have that. It's the it thing, like the it factor.
That's so cool when you're editing or building something.
Yeah.
And something, like if you're visually looking at it or hearing it, and you immediately go, that's it.
Everything
like, that's
just
the
comes
one.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think of that when I think of picking a song for a clip.
Yeah.
Where you have that moment, and you're like, oh, I can quit looking.
Yeah.
That fits perfect.
Yeah. And that's just that boils down to like using your own creative intuition almost, of like, you have a vision of what you want something to be like. And like, I get it with my project, and like, and it relates to like construction projects as well. 'Cause I've noticed that's one of the biggest things when it comes to, like doing construction work. That's like one of my biggest skills is somebody gives me a plan. Like now I'm doing closets and cabinets, that kind of stuff. Right. So you get this plan that's drawn out on paper and you have a room to put it in. Right.
Right.
Okay. I'm visualizing in my head. I'm like, what is the process that is going to make this go as efficient as possible?
Yeah.
And how do I make it look that extra bit better? Like, how do I like
put that Brett flair on there?
Dude, I'm meticulous. Like, I'm to the point now where, like, there's a lot of guys who are like, yeah, it's within a 16th. It's fine. I'm like, no, I'm going in between the 16ths. I'm going, I'm measuring.
Best, cock the rest.
Yeah, dude, I've never heard that. That's gold, though. And like, granted, you're gonna use caulking sometimes. Yeah. But it's like, if I've tried to stress that on guys I work with. I'm like, you're asking me these questions. I'm like, all the answers are in your tool belt. Yeah. On your tape measure. Like anything you ever need to figure out, like you can do it with a tape measure if you just know how to use a tape measure really well. Like it gives you, it's a cheat. It's a way to cheat. I wouldn't say cheat. It is. It gives you the answer.
Exactly like you can get the exact measurement. Like
if you know how to measure between 16ths. Yeah. If you're doing trim work, detail work like that, like if you can measure to the 32nd, like it's gonna work. Oh yeah. But some other things, it's like.
Then you get so meticulous in that, and it's like how you mark your cuts will affect. I don't know. Like I feel like everyone has their own system.
Depends on the pencil you're using.
Right. It depends on the pencil, and if a guy cuts the line or doesn't. I mean, do you cut the line?
I don't know.
I cut the line.
I'm at the point now where like I don't even like hardly think about what I'm doing. It's just like a language I speak a little bit.
I mark so I cut the line because I don't want to see the mark.
Oh yeah. I like that. I appreciate it. Well, and that's the stuff that like a lot of people are like, oh, that doesn't matter. But it's like, if you do that all these different times over whatever the project is you're doing, it just makes it that like little bit cleaner. Right. That little where someone will walk out of their house and be like, wow.
A lot of the cleanest work goes unnoticed because it's so perfect that.
Yeah. Which is fine. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, then you can walk away from it and give yourself the, you went the extra mile versus just like, I mean, you and I both have worked with people who are just like, no, just get it done. Yeah. No, just get it done. Like, and there's a fine line between that. 'Cause like you're working in time frames where it's like, I want to do this level of work and do it that clean, but I still have to meet whatever this deadline is. Yeah. That gets a little tricky. No, your pencil thing you were talking about though. I was talking to Thomas about his woodworking one time, and he was telling me he started marking everything by just using a utility knife.
Yeah, like a lot of the trim guys use owls, scratch owls.
Just like a scribe, like kind of a scribe tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it makes a detent, and then they cut the detent. So so it looks the cleanest.
I haven't gone that deep yet.
I haven't.
I'm like,
dude, I am not.
I'm like, for what I do, because I'm not like the company I work for isn't a custom cabinetry company. Yeah. It's melamine. Everything's melamine, but we're still doing like. We do a lot of like the shaker crown molding, and then we put the decorative 45 crown on top of it, like stuff like that. It looks good, man. It looks great. It's just not custom face frame cabinets or something like that.
Yeah, but you did custom cabinets for a while there, didn't you? Install them?
No.
No.
I mean, I could if I had to. Yeah. So there was a time I learned the whole closet thing when I was in LA. Like I had a job at a closet company for 9 months, and then it was very poorly managed, and I got driven absolutely insane by working there. And then I got a job at a custom cabinet shop, and I like aired out all my qualms with my last job to that guy, and he said I would be none of that would happen there. And then within the first 3 days, it was the same story. So I ended up quitting. That's when I moved back here. Was kind of after that, I was just like, I just could not win. Like I was just defeated. Man. And then like, thankfully, like Chris Engstrom, anytime I call him up and I'm like, hey, you need a guy? Like he always needs guys. So, and I know I'm one of the only people who like really like I connect with Dave. Yeah. Like me and him, like we just like.
Dude, you were one of the. Also, like I've worked with you before, and you're one of the funnest fucking people to work with.
Oh yeah. Like, I always, and that's my thing. I'm like, we're all out here. It can be miserable at times, and it's like you gotta just have fun. Yeah. Like you gotta sing along to the radio. You gotta like crack jokes, and you gotta like rip on each other. Like
it's the best.
Yeah, it makes it fun, and then
I do miss that. Like from doing my own stuff.
Oh, working alone. Like, and I do work alone a lot now. Yeah. And then like one of my coworkers, Steve, like I always get juiced when I get teamed up with him because we like the same music, and I've started like bringing some of my jokes into that job, like because dude, I'm full of shit. Yeah. So
dude, I would say I prefer to work alone for the most part.
It's nice when you're really trying to like focus on the project and like. Yep. But then sometimes it's like it is nice to have another so that's one of the things I like about him is like Steve does really clean work. Yep. And we like the same music, so we just jam out and it just flows good.
That's awesome.
So that's really hard to come by in doing construction work. Is somebody who can kind of like you think the same way a little bit, and you have the same vision and same pace, and you can joke around and that's how I was with Dave. No one could ever work as fast as Dave.
Dude, he's a wizard.
He's insane.
Like, was this on camera or was this off camera? We were talking about him on that break. Like, I'm filming him and I'm looking over and watching him on the sheet metal break.
It's like nothing to him too because he's been doing it for so long.
Just impressive, Dave. If you're watching,
Dryer is. We always call him like he's a Terminator. Like he gets to a house, and he, how like in Terminator, like. He'd like find his target and be like, and the target acquired. Like we were always like, that's what Dave does on houses. Is like when he gets there, he analyzes the whole thing to figure out the layout and how it all needs to go. And then when the job's done, he's got like predator vision where he can see the dent, the small on the side.
Take it down.
Yep. Oh man, I've been there before. It's always the speed square, dude. Someone always drops their speed square off the plank. And then it scratches them. If there's a wrap on the foundation, and that gets dented, oh, he'll storm off and go home for the day.
And then when a speed
that's a whole wall. Like, you gotta tear the whole wall down.
Oh my god! When a speed square hits concrete, dude, it's so loud.
Yeah. Ding! Yep. Then the joke was always, "Quit fucking around back there."
God, I miss that sometimes.
Oh yeah. So, oh god, I had a lot of good times. So that was one of the things that we always got comments on was like me and him, like he also really like just loves music.
Yep.
And I've lived and breathed music since I was a kid, and just like singing along to the radio and like changing the words and just being stupid.
It's the best.
Like there was always times where I'd hear like a song come on and then he'd be on the other side of the house and I'd hear him try to do like some like something like that, you know? And oh man, dude, just
match him.
Yeah, like try to like all those like 80s and 90s like rock songs.
Yep.
Everybody was like so ad lib heavy back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever like really listen, like even like Guns N' Roses or like if you want to hear one of the funniest things in the world,
yes,
go on YouTube and look up Van Halen, Running with the Devil, vocals only.
Okay.
And dude, it's hysterical. The sounds that dude makes, like in between the actual like lines of the song, is just like
Van Halen. Okay. Just vocals. Nothing.
Yeah, vocals isolated. Yeah, that is a hilarious video. So like that's the stuff like he would pick up on that, and we'd just be on job sites like cracking each other up all day. Like, and then there was like our other joke was like, okay, guitar players, we get it. You can solo, it's annoying. Like, chill the fuck out.
I love guitar solos.
I know they're not in music that much anymore either. It was like such an 80s and 90s thing.
Yep.
And it was funny. It's like there's that radio station out of Shell Lake called The Ink.
What?
Have you ever listened to that?
No.
You should check it out. It's good. So it's like
what's its number? You know?
I don't remember.
Okay.
You can barely. We would always only pick it up when we were working over in like Stone Lake-ish area, or like over by Spooner.
Okay.
You could pick it up, but it was like almost. It's kind of like GMO, but it was like more like deep cuts, like hair metal type stuff.
Okay. Yep.
So like, you'd get some Ozzy songs and stuff like that, where it was like, oh, I haven't heard that one in a while, you know, like stuff like that. But every single song, if you have that radio station on for a whole day, you'd hear so many guitar solos where you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude, chill out. Like, does every song need to just have like just ripping guitar solos?
Those, man, that was huge back then, though.
That was before computers. That's what Dave always sends. So it's funny. He is like, just loves 90s, like alternative, like grunge and that kind of, like the song Wonderwall by Oasis.
Okay.
He's just like, I love that song. I love that song. Like, just something about it.
I'm horrible with names. Like, if I heard a bit of it, like,
you would, that's like one of the most famous songs that came out back then.
But you tell me a name, I'm like,
just not into the culture, huh?
No, man. It's same with sports.
I can't do that with sports. Yeah. That just one ear out the other.
Yeah.
But for me with music, it's like I'm passionate about knowing about like the story of like why, like it's funny because like you'll hear a song and you'll be like, huh, I wonder how that was made. Like what went, like there's a lot of songs I hear, like even old songs where I'm like, that's just a weird song. Like, what happened between the people involved, like whoever was in the studio, like what's the story behind that? Like, how did that end up being that?
Dude.
Because it's like a very odd process, and it's something that where every band does it slightly different.
Yeah.
There's no tried and true way.
Right.
It's a matter of just recording like what we're doing right now,
right.
except with an instrument. And then you get like 5 guys doing that too. Like, are they playing at the same time?
Right.
Are they going in and like, does the drummer do what he does first?
I've never seen a whole song produced, but like, I'm sure it's sort of the same way. If I'm doing a video timeline, I might have overlays and overlays.
Yep.
And then
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but
it's just different audio.
You got no visual. You're just looking at audio waves and like,
and listening.
Yeah. It just,
there's a lot of visual.
Well, yeah, visually with the audio waves, right? But
yeah, and there's a lot of like plugins and stuff that you can. That's something I'm like currently learning more about, is like looking at the analysis of the frequencies of the music and like in the stages of mixing of like in electronic music, it's like obviously very like kick drum and sub heavy music.
Yep.
So you have to make sure like those are hitting a certain spot on the frequency spectrum. So like when you do play it through a sound system, like it's going to have the oomph and the feeling that it needs to generate. And that's just all like mixing stuff where it's like, dude, it's like, it gets pretty, it gets intensive. Yeah. And like most, like I said, I'll always go back to most people don't know about that. Like you should hear, so Green Day, like, you know, Green Day, right? Green Day released like I think it was some special edition thing for the album Dookie, which everybody knows that record. I don't know Dookie. Oh, it's the one with like Basket Case. No, that's newer. No? Okay. Basket Case, When I Come Around. Okay. Longview. Like it was just the album that blew them up back in the 90s. They released like a special edition record with all the demos from that record of like what the song sounded like when they first had the ideas. Basket Case doesn't even have the same lyrics. It was different. Like that song, if you don't know that, it was "Do You Have the Time to Listen to Me?" Yeah, that's Basket Case. That song's lyrics were different before the final version ever came out, and they had reworked them over and over. Yeah. But my point is the demos you're hearing, they kind of sound like shit. Like, because then that's a demo. So that being said, it's like these guys go in and they record an entire record, and it's really the product. So there's an engineer and a producer usually in the room. In most cases, like the engineer runs the equipment, and the producer's like, you ever see a picture where there's a guy standing in the room, like behind the huge board? Yeah. That's usually the producer. Okay. And then the guy sitting in the chair with like that's the engineer. Okay. Yeah, the guy doing the faders and the knobs, like that's the engineer. And the producer's there to help make creative decisions in real time and to listen, and essentially like he's like the supervisor, I guess. Right. In most cases, and he's there to help
the foreman.
Yeah, he's kind of the foreman, and he's there to help the band, like help guide them to achieving whatever the vision is of. And that's the thing, you gotta have a producer who understands what the vision of what you're trying to achieve is. But after all that's said and done, and then editing, which you're familiar with, a lot of that goes
video. Like I'm getting
video
into like audio stuff, but not.
So with audio, what ends up happening a lot is like a lot gets edited. Like if there's drums, like someone does a whole, like if you're making commercial music, like music that you want to be like sound like at a commercial level.
Yeah. Professional.
Yeah. It's all edited. Right. Like everything that's recorded, usually, like let's say a drummer goes in and plays a perfect take on a song. Yep. There's still somebody going in there after the fact and like, oh, that snare hit's a little behind. Let's bump it forward.
No way.
Yeah. That's how commercial records are made, dude. It's like those small like inconsistencies, those are being fixed after the fact. Same with singing. So singing, someone will go in and do all their vocal takes. Yep. If there's anything that's slightly like timing wise behind, that gets bumped forward. Everything gets ran through auto-tune. Just like if there's an inconsistency where it's like, they went a little flat, like on the start of that note, even with
you can just bump it.
You just.
Oh my gosh.
You just run it through software. It's not like auto-tune, like T-Pain auto-tune.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, like the same software. It's just T-Pain's thing was like crank it to 100. Yeah. And he used it as a creative decision, right? Yeah. Versus a lot of people are like, oh, he can't. You ever heard him sing?
He's really good. He did a Stapleton cover, and it's amazing.
The Tennessee Whiskey. Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, I think I saw a video of him, and he's like, I make more money than I do now just streaming on Twitch in my living room than I ever did in my music career. I'm like,
unreal.
Crazy world.
No, but he has a phenomenal voice. Like I found a video of him playing the song War Pigs, Black Sabbath.
Yes. Only because from Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Yep. So I saw a video of him playing that with a band, and I was like, whoa, T-Pain, what's up, dude?
He's an artist.
So he can, to anybody who's like, no, he uses auto-tune.
Shut up.
No,
he's very good.
That guy can sing.
Yeah.
That guy can sing. He just cranked that thing to 100, and he was like, damn, that sounds cool. For whatever the music was, he was, let me buy you a drink.
It's probably the most appreciated artist, I think.
I think he's just,
now that you brought that
he's kind of overlooked.
Overlooked.
Yeah, yes, he's a little overlooked by people.
That's a way better way to explain it.
Yeah, but if you date, like, people who know about how talented he is are like, yeah, he knows what's up. But like, that being said, everybody's singing is getting run through some kind of auto-tuning software. It's just minor, like, you're never going to hear it.
Right.
But it's like, if the note went flat or sharp, like, it gets fixed.
Yep.
And then it all gets time aligned, like everything. It's just how commercial music is made. So that's editing.
Yeah.
After that, then it goes into mixing, which is
taking all your layers.
Well, you're taking every single guitar track, every single vocal track, every single part of a drum set, and you're piecing it to, like, audibly, how does this puzzle fit together?
Yeah.
That's what mixing is. And I've said it once and I've said it again, is those guys don't get enough credit because they're the reason music sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the band. It is the
playing.
The band. It is the play. No, it is. It is. But, like, those guys don't get mentioned as much, and they're the ones who are like, okay, this sounds this good with just the band playing.
Yep.
Let's say 60%. Those guys bring it up to like 90, and then there's mastering.
I'm gonna deep dive into this because, like, I feel like I'm more of a visual, and
when you can visually see what people are doing to the music, like on a computer, like, and I can send you videos.
I'm gonna look this up.
I've spent so much time, like, just sitting and learning all this
That's
stuff.
That's definitely something I haven't looked at. Like, there's got to be like a documentary on this to be like, when someone records how it goes, and then mixer to final product.
Yeah.
I want to see the beginning from band playing, recording, to mixing, to everything, final product.
I'll find some stuff.
Yes.
Dude, for sure.
Yes.
No, that's what's interesting about it, is like, so many people like hear music and they're just like, it really is all about like a feeling.
Yeah.
Like, people want to connect and with something that makes them feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And like, there's so much other work done besides that,
dude,
to make it sound the way it needs to sound, to portray what that feeling is that it's giving you. Because like, the demo version isn't going to do it.
I love how music can just shape your mood. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, shit day.
Well, I was thinking about that.
Some new music, like, or just nostalgic stuff, and you're like, all right. I love where it takes you.
So I was like, I mentioned, like, Dave loves that song Wonderwall, which is, since you don't know song names, is today is gonna be the day.
Okay,
back to you.
Yep.
And I always ask him, like why that song? What is it? He's like, it just brings me back, dude. It brings me back to high school, and like things weren't as complicated.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so there's like, it has that effect too on people of like, if you had a song that was really prominent at a certain period of time where you felt a certain way, it's tied to your memory.
Yeah.
And that's like, it has this like.
What's yours?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Endless list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I
scroll.
It depends on the time period, man. And it's, for me, it's like more like what bands was I listening to at the time? Because I've always been like really big on, like, once I find a band that has a song I like, I'll listen to the whole album. Like, I want to see what the whole package is, right? I want to know what their aesthetic is. I want to know like what their message is and their overall sound, versus that's kind of a bummer about like what's going on nowadays, because it's just people are putting out one song. Yeah. It's just a single. Yep. Like, there's rarely like, do we want to get into how wrecked everyone's attention spans are nowadays? So that's what that's what it is. I
actually think it's actually like the trend, you know, in 2023, I think, was like a reel had to be like 10 seconds. That was it. But now they're saying it's like 30 seconds.
Are people's attention spans improving? Maybe. I hope it. I hope it's on an upswing. I've taken a lot of my own like conscious steps into like, I realized how bad mine was getting, from social media.
Oh yeah.
And then like my ability to listen to something for a long period of time, I'm like, man, that's kind of going to crap too. But I think
my wife would say the same thing about me.
It's hard when you're like working with the stuff and edit. Yeah. Like, I don't know. That's why like editing's good, because you get in, if you put your phone away and you just sit down and you get into that, like you go
flow state,
bro, you get into a flow state and you get lost in it.
Yep. Dude, that's what sometimes it just doesn't feel like work when I'm doing a video and.
No, it's very gratifying.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like. I mean, it does feel like work, but it's just satisfying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I agree, man. It's just like you get to disconnect from everything else a little bit that's happening around you, and it's like pure focus.
Yeah.
I get it a little bit doing like construction, definitely. Dude, there's days where I go to work and I start on a project and I just get like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm in a house and like, I mean, who knows, Plymouth or something. Yeah. I'm out working at a house in Plymouth and I'm like, I look up and I go out to my van. I'm like, I don't even know what town I'm in. Like that's how tunnel vision I get.
Is it?
Yeah, or that, like I have to like be like, oh man, I got to get out of here. Yeah. Like that. You get so lost in it, like with that level of focus on something. It's just like,
it's good.
It is good, man. It's like, I don't know, all the online chatter and everything nowadays. Yeah. I'm like, I get burnt out on it.
Yep.
I can't be. I don't know. You can only look at so much like crazy stuff that's going on before you're just like, you got to focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You really do, because like that's what ultimately what matters is like if you want to feel good in your life, like being healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, anything, and like you have a family now. You said daughter, correct?
Yeah.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you very much. She's just started walking.
Oh, really?
Like 3 steps and then falls on her face, but
hey. We've all been there, right?
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So yeah.
Well, no, so that's like what I'm saying is like you want to be there, like your attention, like what you put your attention into is, what was I saying a while ago? I came up with a quote. It was like, put more intention in your attention. Yeah. Mic drop?
Yeah. Scoop drop.
Yeah, scoop drop. Yeah. And
say it again.
I might have read it in a book. Like, that's not a direct from me quote, but it's like, I feel like a lot of people
put more intention
in your attention.
So that's good.
You, like in your case, like into your work and into your family now and Tiff, like, like that's where you're going to get back more in life. Like you're going to feel more joy and more happiness by putting direct attention on what's right in front of you, and like the good things that you do have.
Yeah, and I feel like life's about balance.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's stages where some things are probably going to have more attention than others. I hate this right now where I feel like most of my attention is going towards work.
Yeah.
With being home.
Uh-huh.
So I can feel it right now. My attention is more on growing the business and work rather than Tiff and Riley. But I'm just working towards circling back and just like making it
everything coming together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Coming together and leveling out the scale.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate admitting it, but
hey man, it's better to admit it, and then the fact, like most people will be like, no, everything's fine, right? No. The fact that you're even like self-aware enough to admit like, man, maybe I am, putting more time into this when more should go here, but it's like, we're human, dude. Yeah. We can't be in 2 places at one time, or
I like oh man, I'm glad I'm not traveling for work anymore.
That's even worse, man. Yeah. That's got to be even more of a strain.
Yeah.
On like Randy's been doing that for years, man, and I'm like, he has 2 kids now, and I'm like, I don't know.
I promised myself I wouldn't be married with that last job I had in the oil and gas industry.
Was what you were laid off from when we started working together, right?
I was never laid off.
Like COVID money?
No, they were still working. I just chose to not go Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's never, I mean, there was busy seasons, but we never got laid off because I was an independent contractor with that.
Was you like a 1099 situation?
No, they would still give you W-2s, but
okay.
Yeah.
But some weird middle ground thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's always strange when they're like, no, you're an independent contractor, but you're also an employee. I'm like,
yes.
Okay, so you're telling me I have to take the responsibility of that this is my own business,
yes,
but make way less money.
Yes.
Like,
that's exactly what
it's
we're
like
saying.
A weird. Yep. I'm like, I understand your game. Don't think you're gonna, but then you still do it anyways, right? Yeah.
It was really good money, and
I mean, stuff. For any of that stuff, it's like if the money and time spent's right, like you're gonna do the work, and you're gonna stay there, and
exactly. The money was great, but I never saw my friends and family.
And that's like, so it's not worth that balance, dude. Yeah. That's where that balance comes back, and you need to, well, I'm doing the same thing all the time. I'm constantly reevaluating, like,
right.
Okay, I've been doing this for whatever amount of time. Like, how do I feel about it? What's good about it? What's bad about it? Like, what are my relationships like? What are, what's my free time look like? Like, everybody's doing that.
Yeah. It's give and take.
Dude, it really is. And like, yeah, dude, I love that. I was thinking about that. I'm like, should I get some knuckle tats, dude? Like, what would I get though? I don't know. That's good, dude. That's good.
That's kind of my life motto is that there's always give and take with everything.
You don't get to, I found that giving is more rewarding than taking.
That's why it's on my right hand.
Your work hand?
Yep.
Yeah. Hammer?
Huh?
You swing your hammer with that hand?
Sure do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very ambidextrous, though.
Yeah, I can swing the hammer with both hands. Yeah.
Dude,
I'm not as good at it with the one hand, but like I've ran into people who are like, oh, I can't get to this nail. I'm like, well, use your other hand.
Right.
Oh, I can't swing. I'm like, get out of my way.
Yeah. Get out of my way. No, man, I do feel like it's just the hardest thing is like that work-life balance for me.
Especially if you're running your own business. Like, I've had people ask me, like, why don't you just do that? And I'm like, I've seen what those people's lives are like, and I don't think I want that.
Yeah.
I kind of like my job now. I'm working the least amount of hours I ever have at a job, and it's given me a chance to, like, I can put more into the job because I'm like less wore out just from the time spent, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge thing too. Is like, I don't know about you, but I don't like working over 8 hours in a day.
I don't either.
I like having time to like work out and like go for a walk and like enjoy some things on a day-to-day basis. Because like if you don't have that and you're just trying to catch up on all that like on weekends, you're gonna kill yourself.
I don't mind long hours right now. Like with
if you love it,
I don't. I'll do it.
You'll do it, yeah.
I know.
It gets different. I suppose
it's the stuff is in a growing phase.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put in the hours and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not my goal though.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you're thinking bigger picture, which is like, if you want something to be a certain way or grow to a certain point, like your head really has to be in the what can I do right now that is going to get me to whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus like everybody wants to be out on the boat in the summer, on the lake in the afternoons, like hammering beers and catching fish or whatever like you like to do. Or be in the ice castle in the winter, or like you ride motorcycle too, right? Like riding the bike, like, and like, does your vision that you're building and the path you're going down is going to include sacrificing some of those nights, even weekends, even like, oh man, there's like a big bike run this weekend. It's like, but I got these 2 decks I got to get done. Like, and they're not going to get done if you don't show up and do them.
Right. It's
right.
Yeah. Give and take.
It is. It's give and take.
Give and freaking take.
I don't know Tiff that well, but I feel like she, like, the times I've met her, I feel like she really, really understands you and where your head's at.
Yeah. Not at first, man. Well, I won't say. She's been very supportive, but at first when I started this doing your own thing, It was not a conversation.
It's a little
It was a, hey, honey, I got to find something to do now. Like, she's like, it's great.
Yeah.
So it was a pull the cord and just figure it out.
Well, that's a true test of trust at that point. It's like, I'll figure this out. Do you trust me to figure it out? And it looks like you're figuring it out.
Dude, I'm by no means an expert though, and
I think all the like details of something aside, like running a business or, I mean, building shit. Like that to me, I'm like, that's not hard. What's hard is like all the other aspects of
logistics
and
organization. I think is something that I struggle with quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we'll get there.
But I think at the end of the day, I think what it is like, and it's taken me a long time to learn this. It's really like the energy you bring to whatever it is you're doing. And for me, like, as somebody who does music and performs, I'm like, that's something I've tussled with. I'm like, because the music industry, dude, is the most unforgiving industry in the world, where you can pour everything you have into it. And people are just like, well, still not good enough. Mm-hmm. Or you don't get any validation most of the time that you're going in the right direction. So you almost have to have this like blind faith and trust in yourself.
Dude, yeah.
And the same goes for your business. It's like, okay, like, cause not only like where you're at right now, like you're doing these projects, but you're marketing this as like, I'm Dayton, this is who I am. And like, that's you're the business. I
had this conversation with my friend about, he's like, I can't remember how we got in, but we basically came to the conclusion, like, I feel like I don't own my own business. Like, I own my own job.
Yeah.
Because if I get sick or something, like, the business doesn't run without me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only person in this.
Yeah.
So I own my own job right now. That's how I see it right now. I'll start feeling like it's a business if we hire some people and start knocking out a bunch of decks and fences. So then I would feel like it's more of a business. But right now, he had a good point. He's like, you kind of own your own job, which is fine by me now.
Yeah. But also it's like, I don't know, you're trying things and you're doing things where
too many fucking things.
Well, yeah. I know how that goes. I have like 100 different unfinished. I still have hiking videos from 2 years ago that are not. No, I know, dude. I'm like, I was like doing that for a while too, like making those hiking videos. But that stuff is like, man, I hate editing. I don't hate it. I just like don't always enjoy it that much.
It's
like
tedious.
It can get tedious,
and like, you can burn out pretty quick.
Yeah, I have more fun editing music, audio stuff than I do video. Video editing to me is just like transition here, transition there, and then like figuring out where like the you know, it's just like, I don't know. It can get monotonous. But I guess my point is, dude, I think what you're doing is cool and it's great and it's different. And I don't think anybody in this area has like given, like, especially this platform, like you're like, I'm starting a podcast. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, why not? Yeah, sure. I mean, there's not really any reasons not to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people around here from this area have a lot to say about a lot of different things. And no place to do it other than in a dive bar where everyone's drunk and nobody remembers the conversation.
There's one other podcast in this area. I just recently found out about, or just recently started following them and stuff, and they're called On Tap. And it's a couple guys, like, they got guests and stuff. They're in Pine City.
That's in Minnesota, dude.
Yeah.
Who cares about Minnesota?
It's just, I mean, it's for like specifically like this area, but yeah. And I think there's one other podcast platform that is doing it in the back of their ice castle, and
they probably copied you, dude.
Huh?
They probably copied.
I don't
know.
I don't know, man.
But everything's been done already.
But no, like you said, like I got blind faith in this, man. Like I feel like this is pretty niche, pretty unique.
Well, not only that, but it's like, and I've been all over the place. I've lived and traveled. Like, not saying I've traveled all over the world or anything, but I've traveled around this country enough to know that there's a lot of like different pockets in weird places. And like finding like a tight-knit community of people is a very rare thing.
Oh yeah.
But this is one place where I've always been able to come back here no matter where I'm at in life. No matter what I'm in the middle of doing. Everybody around here has always just taken me back in with open arms, and I'm like so grateful for that.
I love our area.
No, people here, man, this is a special place.
Absolutely.
And it's not only the nature, but like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't fit in around here really. Like, I've never really felt like I don't hunt. I don't really fish. I don't really do all the things. Like, I definitely did all the drinking.
Yeah.
I definitely did that. But, but when it comes to like the culture, it's like, I don't know. I was always doing music, and I was always like more into like art and like just weird like urban stuff, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I could definitely see that. Like,
and I just never.
No offense, but I really didn't.
Yeah. I don't know, but like I still like found my own ways of like connecting. With people around here, and it holds a very like dear place in my heart to be able to come back here, and like everybody's always just, oh hey man, like I saw you doing this, and like
I feel like I'm like the opposite of that, where I do really enjoy the outdoor stuff here. But I'm also like really getting into the arts and video and audio stuff.
And it's just a different world, and like around here, like this is the backwoods, dude. Like this is just, it's rural, it's country, it's woodsy, and
I love it.
I do love it, dude. Like, I'm definitely like, I always felt like kind of torn in half. Like, there's half of me that loves just being in the middle of nowhere in the woods and just like embracing, like, I love being in nature. Like,
that's why you like hiking.
That's
is that
why,
what brought you to hiking?
Yeah. I mean that, and like I don't know, like being outside is good, man. Like being out in the sun is good, but half of me is like, there's a lot of things about being in a city that I really, really like. I like music and going to shows and venues, and I like food, like really different good food. Like,
I wish we had city food here.
Yeah, and it sucks that it's called city. It's city food, but but
you know what I mean.
Like, I like that, like eating foods from different cultures and having more of a variety of things to just try and experience. Like, I do value that as well. But that's kind of how I ended up in Minneapolis. Was, I had lived in LA for 6-7 years, found myself back in Siren, and I'm still like, struggling to find middle ground. Of like
Pine City.
A little more middle ground. Yeah. There's a Thai restaurant in Pine City. But no, and then like my sister lives out in Mound, out by Lake Minnetonka. So like I wanted to be closer to her and my nieces and stuff. So that's kind of how I don't know. It just felt right, man. Like I started going down there a little more while I was living up here, and I don't know. I just felt a little bit drawn to like, man, I think maybe this is where I just need to be right now. And like everything really just came together like kind of effortlessly. So in my experience, that means you're probably going down the right path.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Usually like if something's right or meant to be, like it just kind of works.
It'll work out.
It just kind of works. Like even like usually like when you have uncertainty about doing something, like what you're doing right now, I'm sure it's just embracing the unknown of something. Embracing the unknown it's not for
dude. It's fun
it's fucking
on
scary,
one spectrum,
though.
But you're like,
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing,
dude. I don't either half the time.
But that's okay, man.
Yeah,
that's okay. I think it's what makes it cool is that you're going out into uncharted territory for yourself as a person, and like that's how I felt going out to LA, man. I was like, I don't know what the hell's gonna happen going out here And
I like those moments in your life, though.
You gotta have them, man.
Yeah.
Like, you don't grow. Like, if you don't push yourself outside of, like, I guess for me, it's always
comfort zone. Then
comfort's a lie.
Yeah.
Being comfort, like, I don't know. I have this weird mixed perception of like what comfort is. Like, I have comforts in life. Don't get me wrong, but I think that putting yourself in situations that are extremely comfortable that's so valuable.
Yeah. Because uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think the most important thing you can do is figure out like who you are as a person. And if you can become really comfortable with that, then putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, it's like nothing.
Yep.
Then you're just like, I'm good with me.
Yep.
So
just like being adaptable, or
kind of like a chameleon, not a chameleon, but like being versatile. Versatile, right? Yeah.
Being Jack of all internally trades. Malleable with your surroundings.
Yeah.
Being able to adapt to your surroundings. It's a skill.
It is.
Yeah.
I've seen. Yeah, I'm that way, man. I've just been like, I don't know. I anytime I start,
you can fit in anywhere. I feel like
I try. Yeah. And I'm like, I found that I'm pretty good at just like talking to whoever and like finding common ground like pretty quickly.
Yep.
And then being able to like toss a joke in.
Yes.
That's always my thing. Is like, man, if I can make somebody laugh,
you're in.
Hook, line, and sinker, baby. Like, game over. Like,
we're best friends now.
You're in my world now, Grandma.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is find a movie quote that somebody knows that they think is funny, and then
that's a good point. Yeah.
I try to do that. Like, usually, I just like talking shit.
Yeah.
I just like talking shit. Like, I learned how to do that in dive bars in Wisconsin, dude. Like,
yes.
That's all it is. That's what's fun about it, at least I think. Like, that's like, I loved like hearing some of Tom's stories when he was on here, and it just brought me down memory lane of all the times like we were just we'd run around Eau Claire.
Yeah. I'm sure you left a lot of those stories out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to as well. But that was always what was the most fun about it, was like saying wild shit to people and seeing what kind of reactions you could get and like where you could take it. Like, because Thomas, like, that dude has the gift of gab.
Oh yeah.
Like nobody else I've ever met, and he's so believable.
Yes.
And it's not that I don't see him lying to people, but I see him.
It's never malicious. It's like just hilarious.
Yes,
like...
exactly. And it's like, but he gets somebody in and he starts feeding them nonsense, like made up shit.
Yeah.
And they can't decipher whether he's being like,
can't tell if you're full of shit or
right. But I've seen it in person. It's just like his brain he goes into a creative mode.
Yeah.
Like, so what we're talking about, editing videos.
Yeah.
He's able to do that and to like in real time do it in a conversation with somebody. And like, I've noticed I do it a little bit too. And like, especially with Randy, like, dude, you get me and him in the same room together. Our brains just sync up and we start. It's just nonstop. Like, who can come up with the dumbest thing?
Okay.
And you throw Babe Anderson in that mix. Oh, dude, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna hear you're gonna leave that place and your stomach's gonna hurt. Probably.
Another scoop group.
Yeah, oh, dude, that would be. I don't know if. Oh, bro.
Dude, editing 4 people in here is a disaster.
Oh, I bet.
On my mind.
I bet.
I know there's probably a better way to. I wish that's.
Oh, you got to get Babe in here, man. Babe. Oh God, I love Babe so much, dude. He's got a great brain, and he thinks the same way. He's just. It's funny. It's such a way of thinking, and like after being and living in different places, I really realized that not everybody is constantly like. That's just how my brain works, dude. If somebody says something, I'm like, what can I say that's funny to make them laugh based upon what they just said to me? Or like, how can I twist that and turn it into something like strange or like interesting or funny? And like, dude, Randy is
the king of it.
He might be the king. He might be the king of like.
There's so many people. There's so many people in this area that I cannot wait to keep doing this with.
Oh yeah, for sure. You got to get Randy out here, like, and he knows so much about hunting and stuff. Like, he'd be great for that. You got to get Babe. You got to get Babe out here too.
Perfect.
Babe, dude. Babe, I don't even want to go into like the jokes they were telling at the last get together we were at. Yeah. So I'll just lay it out. Okay, so Babe and Randy both have brothers that passed away. Yeah. And they get into like dead brother jokes.
My God, no.
Oh man, we don't gotta go. Yeah, we don't gotta go down that rabbit hole. But man, those guys, they start going riffing off each other, and it's it's funny because Randy's been like, I've done throwing those jokes out in like work. Like he said, he was at someone was asking him like something at a work thing, and he's like, "Well, like, do you have a brother or something?" And Randy's just like, "Yeah, I did."
Oh my gosh.
Like, God damn it, Randy. I used to. I'm like, and then, but for somebody who like doesn't know him on the level that I know him, like I know he's just fucking around. He's very like to terms with the situation and what happened. Yeah. But people that don't know him that way,
but know like what happened, like that's me. Like I don't super know Randy. Yeah. But, like I know what happened
of the situation.
So I would.
Just you went to Frederick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you must have been like in elementary school or something, like late elementary.
Actually, when that happened, I was actually in Alaska. I was 13 when that happened.
Catching salmon in front of brown bears.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That was.
I do remember that. I called Connie. And just like
I knew Dustin pretty well, and that was tragic, man. Yeah. I still like. I think everybody's very to terms with it. And I've had the thought like he was just such a special person and just a unique individual. I think that something somewhere else needed him more than we do. Yeah. I think that's what happened. Because like to get taken away at such a young age, it's tragic.
Right.
But that hit everybody, man. Like anybody he ever came into contact with in his life, like that knew him personally, like his relationship, whether big or small, like it affected everybody on a very deep level. That's just the kind of person he was. Yeah.
I was never close to him, but I was.
You knew him. You knew him though.
A little, just very minimal though. I was super young.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, and that goes back to what I was saying, man. Like I remember at his. It wasn't really a funeral. It was more like a celebration of life they did at the school. Yeah. They had the bleachers out. They had the entire floor filled with chairs. Yeah. And there were people standing everywhere and then pushed out the door. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where that...
Awesome to see.
Dude, the community... Yeah. Like I said, dude, it's like that community of like people looking out for one another, like regardless of... maybe personal conflicts or whatever. Right. Like everybody usually will put differences aside to be like, no, this person needs help. Like if somebody's in a tough situation or you're stuck in the ditch, like somebody's going to come get you. Right. I've seen it happen like so many times. Like everyone's a phone call away. Yep. And regardless of what someone's doing, people are usually like, well, yeah, I'm just on my way to work, but yeah, I can swing through. Mm-hmm. And
it's a people thing around here. I feel like
you don't get that in a city, man. Like
I don't think so.
It's a little more like Minneapolis for me is a little more. It's more manageable, but dude, LA, man, you get stuck on the side of the road there, like you're just fucked. You don't even get help from the police there.
I just like I am thinking about that, and it gives me so much anxiety if I was like stuck on what's the main road there, 90. What is it, 4 or something?
In the cities?
Yeah. No, like the main drag, like through LA down to San
Oh,
the
Diego, 5 freeway?
Whatever.
Yeah, the 5, yeah.
So busy. Oh my God.
That's every freeway there. Yeah. The 101. Out in the valley, dude. Yeah, that's the thing where like, man, it would get overwhelming out there quite a bit just because it's like, I don't have my closest family's in Golden, Colorado. 16 hours away, man. I don't have any family out there. Like, you know, I had friends to rely on and stuff. And
we're glad you're back.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I really cherish the time I spent out there, and I learned a lifetime's worth of lessons about how the world works, how a gigantic city works.
Different cultures everywhere. There's many people there.
Yeah. How different cultures operate. Like, and I just learned a lot about myself and who I am through being in all those scenarios, and also learned a lifetime's worth of stuff about being in the music industry and like, how to play music and like what works, what doesn't, like
in massage parlors and
bro. Never got a massage.
Yeah.
But oh no, it's funny. I actually like thought of a story. Like I was thinking, like, if we get deep into talking about music and to kind of shed light on like a situation. So I'll just tell the story of one of the most profound moments for me of like understanding, like you see all the music that gets played around here, right? Like,
yeah,
it's all like kind of like, you know, might make some people get up and dance.
Yeah.
Like, people might just sit there and listen to it as background noise, but there's nothing like, I've never seen a band around here that's been so good to a point where people can't help but get out of their chair and move to what's happening. Dude, this changed my perception of everything. So I was hanging out with this dude at the time, and he was a piano player, and he brought me to this bar called the Federal in North Hollywood, and there was this drummer playing there named Ronald Bruner Jr. He's like, if me playing drums is speaking English and some Spanish, this guy is fluent in English, Spanish, French, Chinese.
The best.
Like, he can speak every language simultaneously on a drum kit, right? I've never seen him play. I know about him. And my buddy's like, dude, we got to go watch this band. They're playing in this little back room in this bar. And this guy has this small setup. He doesn't have his full big kit set up because he has a massive kit with like 100 cymbals and toms and all that. He's playing on like a snare, kick, hi-hats, maybe like a crash and a ride, and then like a tom or two, like small setup, like pretty basic. We're in this room. He's got a small band with him too. I think he had like maybe a bass player, guitar player, and a horn, like a saxophone or something. I can't remember. But there was a moment during his set where he was in like a break in the middle of a song, and nobody else was playing, and he was sitting there just like on the kick drum.
Yeah.
Like hitting the kick drum, just playing 1, 2, 3, 4. But the way he was doing it,
like his body language, or
no, I don't know, dude.
You know,
it was magic, bro. So it wasn't just like me sitting there doing that. It's like whatever. This guy was just hitting the kick drum 1, 2, 3, 4, but the groove and the like energy behind it was like he had the whole room
doing. Oh, you looked like, around and everyone was
like everybody, like the groove was so heavy and so deep. And like I don't know, it was like an energy thing, dude. Like, this guy created this blanket of energy in that room and sucked everybody up into it. Dude. And whatever he played, like, you were a part of it.
Do you know Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like,
Yes, yeah. It kind of like that, honestly, dude. Really, honestly, that's a good comparison. But in the form of a guy just hitting a bass drum with a kick pedal. But I'm like, there's something in that person playing that drum set that is coming out of him, and it's more than just a guy playing some notes. Like, I felt like a magic in that room that night, and then after that, I was like, I need to reevaluate a lot of things about what I can do behind a drum set, because
you still play?
I have like a practice pad that I just leave on my kitchen counter. And then I have like a pair of sticks there. And usually like once a day I'll like jump on it and just like kind of like riff, I guess.
Yeah.
Like guitar, you get on there and kind of dink around. Like I just do that on a drum pad and just like play whatever comes out of me, kind of thing. And it keeps my hands in good shape. So if anybody's ever like, hey man, you want to get up and play a few songs? And I'm like, then I don't completely suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But man, dude, I'm telling you, man, what I saw in that room that night, I was like,
this is magical.
It was magic, dude. It was, I had never like felt or experienced something like that. And then that really changed a lot of things for me as far as like, it became less about thinking about what I'm playing and more about how I'm playing it.
Hold on. Let me think about this. Having more
intention
with your attention.
Yep.
I like that so much, man.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
If I take one thing out of here, it's that quote.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, and that's
really good.
It relates to anything, man. It's like if you, I mean, there's a lot of things. Like if, like take something like Thomas talked about, struggling with alcohol. Like I've struggled with it too. And it's all about the intention behind the attention you're putting on the thing you're doing. Like there's a lot of people who can go out and have 4 or 5 beers and like they're great, they're fine, celebrate. For me, it was go out and do that and like, and then wondering why I'm feeling so miserable the next day. And I know some people don't have to deal with that. And I'm like, then it's like, okay, well, what are my intentions behind what I'm doing, right? I started thinking about that kind of stuff a lot over the last year. And it relates to everything, dude.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yep.
It's like creative projects, work, relationships, man. Like, how are you showing up for it? Like, what, like, that's why, like, taking care of yourself is such a big deal, man.
It is, dude.
It really is. Like, you have to really, like, own everything in order to be able to show up in the most authentic way.
Yeah.
Especially like I said, man, like you are so blessed to have a wife and a child, and like
I'm really blessed.
Dude, for real, fortunate. Man, it's something to be like super, super, super grateful for.
It's something like I never take that for granted. And
never.
I won't say who it was, but one of my close friends. For the people who know a situation, they know who it is. They had. One of our close friends had their daughter pass away, like very, very young.
How old?
Like 5 months.
Oh my god!
And it was, dude, it hit me.
That's heart.
This is not
heart-wrenching, man.
It is. It was fucking terrible, and it put in perspective, like, of my daughter. Like, this could be you, and since then, I've had such an outlook on taking that time with her for granted, and just like, I cherish every fucking moment I have with her. So,
that's good, man.
Yeah,
and that just goes back to what I said, man.
Dude, I hate taking someone else's tragedy and like.
Well, that's the thing though. If you can take it and seeing, well, and like maybe feeling grief for them.
I do. I think about it all the time, man.
Then that's like, all that's doing is sending them healing energy. Yeah, I believe
they're doing good though.
Yeah. Well, and if you can take that and it's a way, like even if a bad thing can help you reflect on what you have going on, and feel gratitude towards what you do have, that's not a bad thing.
No, I don't want to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel you on that. Yeah. Like, that's horrid. And no one should have to go through that, man. Nobody. But and it also is a firm reflection of how fragile life really is, and how it can just be there and then not.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%. But yeah, you just.
Dude, you got to be. Yeah, you got. And that's something I've
taken things for granted.
I've done it a million times. I've messed up a lot of things, just thinking the grass was greener somewhere else, and not knowing how to show gratitude for what I do have, and like taking things for granted, man. It's like it's a disease. It can be.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
Negativity, I think, is very contagious.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
You get the guy who is half glass empty on a job site.
Yep.
Crushes morale.
Oh yeah.
Nothing gets done. Dude, I struggle with it right now. There's like one dude at my job where it's always, well, this is fucked up and this is fucked up and I'm like,
shut up.
Well, it's like, well, you can either approach it and just be like, well, it's just a situation.
Deal with it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like your approach to that situation is ultimately like what determines how you feel about things. So if you can just shrug something off and just be like, well, just, deal with it. It's like, my mentality is like, somebody is paying you money to do a job, to do something you're good at.
Yeah.
Like, you should just be grateful that that's even a situation you're in, right?
Yeah.
Not well, I'm here, so I should be,
Yeah.
It's like, but what are you doing to add value to the situation you're in? Which, oh man, I can't tell you how many people I've worked with where it's like, just bare minimum, do the least amount of work possible. Like, that's the problem with hourly work, honestly, is like, you get that guy who's like, well, why should I get that much done? Like, we just have to be here for 8 hours. So if I can do the least amount of work possible for those 8 hours, then I'm winning. Like, I don't know how you go home and feel good about yourself after that.
I got very against hourly work.
My job right now is not hourly, it's commission. So it's like, as fast as I get the work done, I still get paid the same. So I can do it in 2.5 hours or 4.
Yeah.
Up to me. And some days I'll just go slow because I don't feel like working that fast.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. I don't even pay, like, honestly, I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't even pay attention. At this point, I'm just like, I just show up and I do the work every day and I do it the way I do it.
Yeah.
And
it looks good. I've seen some of your stories about the closets.
Yeah,
it looks
dude.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Baby.
Is you.
Is that you?
No, that's you,
me?
man.
What do you do? What do you gotta do? You just...
Oh, it's straight down. Hold on.
What's that?
Just let it.
There's something pulling at it though, right?
Yeah. At first.
So how do you hook the fish? Do you just pull on it?
Grab it. Yep. Grab it. And keep pulling if you feel something.
No. There's nothing. He probably took it. We had a bite though. Had to have been. Oh, the minnow's still on it.
Yep, just send her down.
Yep.
Shit!
She'll come back around. We'll get one. That's ice fishing, baby.
That's it.
Oh, man.
Well, that was exciting.
Dang it, man.
Oh, it'd feel good to pull one out of the hole. Has someone done that yet? On camera? Has someone pulled a fish up on camera?
Yep.
Paul did, didn't he?
Paul, Billy, Bailey did.
Oh, so you haven't had one in a while.
No, Scoop Group did.
I didn't watch that whole one.
Yeah.
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I try to watch all your episodes though.
That's fine. They're long. Like.
Yeah.
But, no,
it's fun. It's fun hearing what people have to say about life around here, and dude, Burnett County and Polk County is an interesting place.
I love it
dude,
much,
yeah.
Man. I love it,
dude, especially after like living in very, very different places.
Oh, dude,
I'm like, yeah.
Like I've traveled for work almost every state, and I love here the best.
That's good.
Hands down.
You should love where you live, man.
I do.
Yeah, that's good. It took me a long time to find that.
You think you're gonna stay in the cities, or you're gonna come back around here?
No, I think I'll stay there, man. Yeah. I fit in better there.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's an hour and a half to get up here.
It is not bad.
It's an easy drive.
Yeah. Either way, it's not bad.
But I like everything that's around here too. Like, dude, I just planned a backpacking trip for the Porcupine Mountains this summer.
Okay, that's North Carolina.
UP.
What? Oh man, I've got
You're way off.
Geography way messed up. What am I thinking of? Whatever.
Some different appellations. I don't know. What's in I've never even been to North Carolina.
I thought my friend's wedding was in some mountain range. I thought it was.
So the Porcupine Mountains is up off the south shore of Lake Superior.
Yep.
So you go past Ironwood, like
Yep.
an hour and a half or something.
Okay.
It's up there.
Yep.
There's nothing out. I've been out there before. And it's really fucking cool.
Nice.
I
had a bike trip there last week.
That would be
not no last
week. Oh man, you must have froze your ass off.
Last year, it's cool.
That'd be I've heard of people ride motorcycle up there.
I love that area.
Dude, there's nothing up there.
It's nice.
It's so desolate.
Love it.
No, it's cool. It's different, man. Like I drove up there. I think it was around this time last year.
Yeah.
And I was gonna try and go into the park and like see Lake of the Clouds, which is like it's just like one of the big. There's like I think you can park. So like I've never been to that part. Like I went and stayed out there in a yurt one time, and then we hiked like 7 miles up and 7 miles down, and then the main big like attractions in the park, like we didn't even go to them. But I didn't know anything about hiking at the time. Like, I just went with.
Just put one foot in front of the other.
Well, that was kind of like, honestly, that was like one of my first exposures to backpacking.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like you carry this whole bag of, and like I had like 1 million pounds on it.
Yeah.
Because we were just going into a yurt.
And
then like doing a day hike and then going back out. But that one experience, I was like, man, it was just so cool being like that far out in the wilderness. And like, I don't know, it kind of sparked something in me. Like when I started hiking out in California, I was like, I always remembered that. And I always kind of had the thought like, I really got to go back to that place someday. Like it's a special place.
You're going this summer?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's like, was the big thing is if you want to get a campground out there, you got to plan it 6 months in advance.
Oh, I bet. To reserve it,
yeah, to reserve it. So I had the thought, it was like, I didn't do that much outdoor stuff last summer.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try to get back into that this year a little more. And I think the key to that is just plan it.
Yeah.
Like if you just
put a hard date on it, you'll probably
if you pay for the permits, you're going to go and do it. So I'm gonna go do that. But I planned it out as like a 2.5 day thing. I still have to like work out some of the details, but I got a campsite on the side of like Muir Lake, it's called, and then I'm gonna day hike. Well, I'm gonna pack my stuff up and then hike to a different campground on the side of Lake of the Clouds.
Okay.
Which is gonna be cool. And then there's like a spot I've seen in photos where you can like hike up to the top of this like big ridge and you can see down on the lake.
Cool.
Dude, it looks so dope.
Bring a drone.
I don't have one. I'm gonna take yours.
No.
I'm gonna take a bunch of photos and stuff and maybe document it though.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Yeah.
And then I think after that day, hike back out to the car, and I'm like, I just want to do more stuff like that while the weather's nice, because like this winter hasn't been that bad, but
no,
that's one of the reasons I moved away. It was like, oh, dude, I was burnt out on winter, man.
I love winters, man. I love the seasons. That's another big thing about our area that I like. Is just
I did miss that, like living out in California. Like you don't really get fall because there's no trees that change color. There are some cool like weather phenomenons that happen out there, like super blooms.
Yeah.
And
stuff. I love the earthquakes, and it's great.
Yeah, I felt a few of them.
Never been a part of one.
They're not as bad as people make them out to be. There was one I felt, so I felt 2 of them. One, the house I was in, like everything rattled, like the windows were just like.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
It'd probably take you way off guard if you've never experienced one before.
It was strange, but the second one was even crazier.
Yeah.
So like the other time, I was in this apartment. Dude, and I got up, like something started to feel weird, and I stood up, and I felt like everything shift.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a rattle.
Yeah.
It was more like the whole earth moved.
Yeah.
And I like almost lost my balance and fell over. It was like so strange.
No, thank
like,
you.
I'll take that over a tornado, though.
Yeah, I think I would too.
I mean, we lived through that. Were you here when that happened?
I was in Utah.
Mormon country.
Yeah.
Now, where in Utah were you?
No idea. I was I was in Salt Lake. Yeah.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever been to southern Utah?
Yeah.
Like where all the parks are and stuff?
What the fuck was I working at?
That is
I was working at some plant, southern Utah. I have no idea. It was a Chevron plant or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Dude, that is like one of the strangest parts of this whole country. It is so...
It's beautiful, though.
It's beautiful, but man, it's like everybody thinks of Arizona as the desert.
No, man. There's some like dude, mountains and shit.
Utah's the desert. Yeah. Utah is like...
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Like the desert.
Dude, New Mexico's so pretty. So pretty out there.
I think it's just bare.
Well, I'm talking more like Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Like
okay, yeah.
Albuquerque. But if you go south of that, like, no, you're in the desert. Yeah. Middle of nowhere. The middle of nowhere in that part of the country is so different than the middle of nowhere here.
Right.
The distance between civilization of towns and stuff.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's crazy.
What were we just talking about? It was Arizona, desert.
Oh, Utah. Southern Utah.
I did a trip
to southern Utah with
That's right.
Joe Anderson, Kim, and I think Ray Roy was with us. Do you know Ray Roy?
Mm-mm.
No, he was like my class growing up. But we went and did I think we went to every national park in southern Utah. It was sweet.
That's awesome.
I climbed, so the first spot, you know Zion?
Yep.
Have you ever seen videos of Angel's Landing?
No.
It's that hike where you go up like a shitload of switchbacks and it's all like paved, and then you get to a certain part and then you get up to the top of this thing, and then it like dips down, and then there's like a hike up to the peak of this thing, and the trail is like, dude, it's like this wide, and there's chains.
So you can hold on to it so you don't fall?
Yeah.
Oh
dude, there were people up there going to the top of that thing who should not have been up there. And I was like...
Get down.
Well, and everyone's going so slow and like, dude, construction guy. Yeah. I've spent time like crawling around on roofs, right? I'm like, if I have something to hold on, if I have something to hold on to, dude, I was... So people are like, like scared. I'm jumping on the other side of the chain and like hanging and like going around everybody that was going slow.
Were they getting pissed?
No, they were just like, oh my God. And I'm like, dude, you climb around.
It's fine.
If you've walked a 10-12 pitch, you're good.
Yeah. Oh my God, no, thanks. I hate those.
Dude,
give me the 412s.
Oh, dude, dude, hit me in the middle, 6. Hit me with the 612. 4, you're gonna kill your back.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were doing that pole shed we were on the clam flowage up by Danbury?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember that?
The corrugated black steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where one of the panel in the back got cut wrong.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I was just like, I don't know if we should leave that. But, dude, vivid memory of those Amish dudes.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my God. Those guys are insane.
Dude, when that dude, they took the scissor lift, went up.
Yeah.
And the one guy.
The whole thing.
Dude, no harness, no nothing. Like, if I would have done that, I would have been on the purlings, like, crawling.
Yep.
That dude, they got that thing high enough, jumps up, walks across the purlings, standing straight up. Didn't even have the first sheet on.
I don't know how that roof system held him and his balls up.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, for real. I saw that and I was standing there just going... I'm like, I'm glad I'm not doing. I'm glad I'm.
Guys are great.
No, and they did one side in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
and then sat in the truck for like another 2 hours, like having lunch.
It was still winter.
It was cold as. I remember we were taking all the cut off, and we were throwing it in a pile and having a campfire every day. And I just remember those guys standing around the campfire smoking the corn, like their pipes.
Pipes, yeah.
And I was just like, God, these guys really have life figured out. I feel like I'm like, I need to go live with the Amish or something, dude. I'm
sure they take you. You gotta grow your. Oh no, you gotta have.
I could just shave the mustache, probably.
Well, no, I think the beard means that they're married.
Oh, so I'll be babyface then. Yeah.
Yeah, they.
I jump into one of those communities. I'd be married in like a week and a half or something. Though,
yeah, you would. That face yours.
Yeah, I'd get in there. And, oh man, he already knows how to work like us.
Yep.
What the hell? Who is this guy? I'd be like, I don't know, make me a pie.
Yeah.
Get those fucking good pies going.
You're just sitting there with like the drums or like the bucket drum.
The washboard.
Yeah, you're their only form of music.
I'd be the guy that blows in the jug.
Yeah.
I think we're thinking of like Appalachian Mountain bands.
Bruh.
Yeah. Ringing the
Spin me
triangle.
some sick beats.
Soup zone. Oh fuck, dude!
You thrive in the
Amish community.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I might be too crazy for them. I feel like they've got a little bit of crazy going on though.
I don't know what goes on there, man.
I wonder. Yeah, it was interesting talking to those guys. Like
they talked to you. They wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah, we were like asking them questions, and then they had like a 8-year-old kid with them working too.
Yeah,
I was like,
they start their apprenticeships pretty young.
I think that's smart. Like, I spent half my life thinking having to work hard was like punishment.
Yeah,
because anytime I did something wrong when I was a kid, it was like, all right, go stack wood, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to go ride skateboard or something. Like, I'm like. Oh, that's something funny to like think about too. 'Cause I always like associated having to work hard with like that I was in trouble.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to like realize the value of a hard day's work. Of like, damn, I really like gave it my all, and worked really hard and got a lot done. And like that, dude, it's gratifying.
Oh yeah,
it's gratifying.
Yeah, it is.
I love it. Didn't you used to skate?
Still do.
You still skate? No, you don't. No way.
I bet I could still. I've been meaning. I just found my old skateboard. It was
what brand was it? Toy Machine?
It was a Sitka one. Like
Sitka? Like hunting? The hunting brand?
No.
You had a hunting brand skateboard?
No,
dude?
So when I lived in Alaska, like skating was pretty big there. And
on the snow?
No. Yeah, they had this skate shop there that had their own house decks. And
you have one of those, huh?
Yeah. But
that's probably a relic at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I primarily had Element Heliums.
Elements were good, dude. I had a couple Elements back in the day.
Bone trucks or
no, Bones bearings. Bones did the bearings, and then there was all kinds of different trucks. Independent. Yep. Yeah. Dude, some indies. Gotta have some indies.
But anyways, I found it. I was looking for some bullshit with ice fishing in my shed.
You're like, I'll haul out my gear out there on a skateboard.
No. And I was looking for, I don't know what, but I looked behind some fucking bin, and I was like, oh, geez, there's my old skateboard.
Was it still roll?
Yeah.
The bearings aren't?
Yeah, it's fine. It was all inside and everything.
I always wonder if something like...
Yeah. So anyways, I've been meaning to get to Siren and hit the mini ramp.
Try and ride the mini ramp?
Yeah.
I feel like I crashed really hard the last time I tried to skate there, and I was like, all right.
I'll teach you a couple things.
I don't know if
you bring Hans, I'll teach him too.
Yeah, okay. Dude, Hans got good, man. He was so good at skateboarding.
Yeah, I thought for sure.
You should get him on here.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got a lot. He knows a lot about.
We were just talking about cameras stuff the other day. Called me.
Hans did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he wants to shoot more skating stuff.
Yeah. I shot some stuff for him a long time ago when I had a GoPro. I had a Hero 4. That's the last GoPro.
That's a Hero 7. It's old.
That's still even old.
Yeah.
Like the Hero 4 looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. No, like I always tell him, I'm like, dude, I think his problem is like you can just film on an iPhone now.
I'm not dogging iPhone footage.
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
No, like,
there's better footage, but it's still good.
Like those videos I make for the Mind Flayer account. Yeah. Like part of it's I like those.
I like the edits you do with like the blur.
That's all CapCut. Yeah, all the like little light effects. Yeah. That's why I like that editor so much. Is like you can like really dial in what happens where so closely with that, and it's like really efficient. And all those effects are stock in that program. No other editing program has like those weird stock effects. That's like why CapCut's so good. Does DaVinci have that? I have that on my computer. I just don't ever use it. I'm Final Cut guy. Yeah. Someone gave me Final Cut, and I was like,
I've never used Final Cut.
Once you figure it out, it's like really nice. Yeah. But they all do the same thing.
Do you still do like DJ shows still?
Yeah, I did one in Eau Claire.
Yeah.
Like a month or two ago, and the guy who books me for those shows, he asked me a while ago. He was like, "Hey man, do you want to do this festival in Eau Claire, like Cadott, this summer?" And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I just say yes, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Tell me where, tell me when. I'll come do it. Like, if you have because I don't have the equipment anymore. All I have is those headphones, and then I have these.
That's all you need.
If the equipment's there, but I can't, if somebody's like, hey man, will you come DJ my house party?
Yeah.
Like, well, do you have speakers and a controller? Like, no. I'm like, then I can't.
Yeah.
I had all that stuff, but I hardly ever used it. It just sat and collected dust. So I'm like, I'm going to give this to some, I sold it. I was like, I'm going to sell this to somebody who actually will get use out of it. Because it's just sitting here collecting dust. And, so to prep everything, all I got to do is I have the program on my computer that the players run at clubs, most clubs. There's kind of a standard. Every single club uses Pioneer CDJs, they're called, and they run the software called Record Box. So I just have Record Box on my computer. See, it's the same software.
Yep.
So you build all your sets in there. You can access your iTunes library, everything. Okay. So all the music I get, I just categorize everything in iTunes of it's chaos. If you were to look at it, you'd be like, my God.
Dude,
But for me, I'm like, I know where everything is just because I organized it,
I should show you
the controlled chaos, I call it. Yeah.
I should show you my folders and be
and you have your.
I know where they are.
Yeah, I would just be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. But so you go in there and then you can just pull what songs you want for a set list, and then what you do is that software grids everything.
Yep.
So a dance music song, just example, just dun 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 dun. It creates a grid that follows all the transient information. So basically it's the kick hits.
Yep.
So that gives you your 1, 2, 3, 4. It creates a grid, and then you can set markers, and they're called hot cues. So if you set a hot cue on the player, it'll register. And then if you want to jump to that part of the song in real time, you can hit the hot cue.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's all about preparation. So I just go on there and prepare all that stuff. And then you offload the whole playlist onto that little USB.
Sick metal USB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so all you got to do is show up, plug it in, and then those players, or the guy I do shows for, he has just a standalone controller.
Yep.
So you just plug into it, and then you can also change a bunch of settings on your record box on your laptop. And then you can have that transferred to the USB too. So when you plug in, it says, do you want to load my settings? And you just hit OK, and then it loads everything the way you want it, dude. It's crazy. It's really the way of the future.
I want to see this. I want to see you
in real time.
Are you doing it actually?
Yeah, dude. So get this. So I kind of went on a tangent, but so he asked me, do you want to do this festival? Blah, blah, blah. In my mind, I was like, I saw people in California do this a lot, but they would grab a couple gazebos and drive out to the desert somewhere and pop them up.
There's 6 people that show up or something.
Well, yeah, and then they would just bring a generator and DJ equipment and speakers, and then throw this desert party where there's 20 people.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what it was gonna be.
I'd go to one of those.
Well, so I was just I was like, what, that'd be fun. Whatever, I'll play that. And then I play the show in Eau Claire.
Yep.
And hang out with him a little bit, and whatever. That show went good. I had fun, and he's been getting a lot of people out to those shows. When I started playing shows for him, it was maybe 10, 15 people would show up.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It could be hit or miss now. Dude, he said he had over 100 through the door at his last show.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm I told him, man, I'm dude, just book me sometimes. Yeah. I'm there to more help him out. I was I think what you're doing in Eau Claire is cool. And I used to live there and played in bands, and that music scene there was so fun. And I'm I think it's cool that you're doing this in Eau Claire, because there seems to be there's a little bit of a scene for that in Minneapolis, but Eau Claire's never had anything like that. And I think it's cool that I don't know. And for me, it's fun to go back and be in Eau Claire. Just I was there for 6 years.
Holy shit.
That was a fun town to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time there. And but he drops, so he sends me a message, and he's like, oh, here's the promo for the festival this summer. And I'm like, I'd look at the flyer and I'm like, you have Marshmallow on this goddamn thing? Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
With the helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got like Marshmallow, and then I could name a bunch of other people. You probably won't. Nobody watching this will know who they are, but they're all big like artists, like DJ producers.
Yep.
And then I find out, I'm like, oh, it's the same. It's Cadott where they throw Country Jam.
Yeah.
Country Fest.
I don't know which one.
It's one or the other.
One or the other. Yeah.
So it's on the same festival grounds they do that.
Yeah.
And it's the first like big electronic festival. And I'm like, oh, this is what he booked me on? I'm like, this is actually it's actually a sweet deal. Yeah. So yeah, it's called Force Fields.
Perfect.
So that's going down in June. And I don't have anything booked till then, but I'm trying to like, I don't know, I'm just like making stuff again and like just trying to
you're pumping these videos out.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Mm-hmm. Like I try to just like, I think the way I used to do it was I was always like more like showcasing like all these like weird mashups and like edit things that I was making, and then I was like, I need to like put myself in it more.
Yeah,
because it's more like
I like how you do it. You frame like the screen. Do you screen record? Yeah, you must.
Yeah, so what I do is I screen record. I screen record Ableton.
Yep.
And then so there's that, and then before I was doing like what you see in Rekordbox, like the waveform.
Yeah.
But I actually the last one I did, I recently got this like, it's like an audio visualizer plugin to monitor like volume level, waveform, EQ, and like the stereo field. Like it has like things that react to the music, so you can visually see what's going on with the sound. And I'm like, I just kind of jumped on the ship. Like everybody's making their videos with that in it now.
Looks good, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, it's working for everyone else, so I'm like, I'm just gonna jump on board and do the same thing, and it adds a little more to the movement of the video and everything. But I'm like,
and all the lights, the CapCut lights and everything.
Yeah,
it looks very good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but I'm like, I like doing it.
Yeah,
and like, but as of recently, what I've been trying to do is like, I took like kind of a hiatus when I moved back from actually working on producing original music, and I've kind of been getting back into doing that, because like making those edits, like the mashups and stuff, is one thing. Like that's just like I'm taking this music someone else made and layering it with this music someone else made. So it's not really like an original. It's an original idea.
Yeah, but
it's not a full original song that I made. So like I'm getting back more into like learning more about music production and how to like, I already know how to do it, but I'm just really bad at finishing things. You know what I mean? Like I have a graveyard of ideas and started songs and ideas that were started that got saved. Like there's a graveyard on my computer of that stuff.
It's a folder named graveyard.
Well, it's just, I should move everything like and organize it better.
I want to hear this.
But all I need to do is like see things through, and I've been jumping on YouTube a lot more and like digging more, and like I kind of picked back up where I left off of like where I was at learning music production, and like there's just so much to it, like what we talked about earlier with like recording a band and like all the different
layers and everything.
Well, all the different people involved to like get the final product out. Like that's why it bums me out that DJs and producers get a bad rap sometimes, because I'm like, these guys are doing every one of those people's jobs like from start to finish. They're like, you're doing everything by yourself. Like you're coming up with the idea, you're being creative, you're doing the arrangement, you're doing the editing if there is any, then you're doing the mix down, and you're probably revising the mix down till you get it to sound right. And then if you have the money, you can send it to somebody to master.
Yeah.
Or you're going to master it yourself. And then you have to do album art.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So you have to do the album art, and then you have to create content on social media to promote
all the shorts and shit.
Yeah, like it's so much work.
Yeah.
To just like, obviously all those big name DJs and like bands
probably have a whole team
they have a team.
All that.
They have a team of people who, I mean, I'm sure it works differently for each individual artist, but like, dude, it's a lot of work, man. And it's really like, for me, I fall in and back out of it all the time. Like I took a step away because I'm just like, I just don't like this right now. You know, I just didn't
Right
have
now.
the, oh yeah, that's the thing. And it's like one of those things.
Sometimes that's what you need. It's just like,
yeah.
I
had to step back and reevaluate like what my relationship with it was.
Yeah.
And then eventually you come back to it and you're kind of like, well, I really, you realize like why you like doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
And for me, that's just been music in general. Like I've been playing music and involved in music since I was 11 years old. The first time I got on a stage and played drums in front of people, I was 11. I was a child.
Holy shit.
And it was at, Border, where Border is now, in Lewis.
The Amory?
In Lewis.
Oh, it used to be
Shooters.
Yes. Before
it was Shooters, it was called the Log Rail Saloon. So I'm telling.
I don't even remember that.
That's what I'm saying. So my neighbors, the Lindbergs on County Road B there, they had it was the three brothers were in a band together, and they played blues, like rock and blues. And they would play there. And this was back in the day, like.
And they're like, Brett.
Well, no, no. What happened is I started playing in a band with Andy's daughter, who I don't even think he was in the band. He was their other brother, but is that Fish?
Mm-mm.
But he, we were just over at Bob's house all the time, and Bob was the drummer, so he had the drum kit at the house. That's how I started playing drums. Was like Angela, who was the one who she kind of got me into music. Like she was showing me, I didn't really know anything about music or connect with it until I remember she showed me Nirvana.
Yeah.
When that was happening during the middle of that happening, and then Weezer.
Yeah.
Weezer Blue Album,
which
everybody knows that record. Phenomenal album. And then, and I'm all this stuff is cool, but then it was Green Day, dude. When she showed me Green Day, dude, it was game over. That was it. It was game over.
Yeah.
It was game over. I was playing on a bed with drumsticks, and then I think a day or so after, I was we went down to the basement, and I'm I just figured it out.
Yeah.
I just started figuring out how to play what I was hearing. Started to learn how, or try to. And then they heard that we were messing around playing music. And so it was me, Angela, and then Jessica Limerick. She just passed away. I don't know if you heard about that. That was tragic. And R.I.P. her. And her, I still feel so bad for her family, but it was at their house where we all started playing. So Jess played bass, Ange guitar, me drums. And so they had heard we were practicing. And I don't know why I was 11 years old in the bar.
It's Wisconsin.
Now that I think about it, I'm just
I've seen.
They would just bring us out to see them play, though, So
it's pretty acceptable here.
Sometimes I'm it's midnight at Chris's Pheasant Inn. Come on, why is there a kid in here?
What are you doing?
Yeah, there's about to be a fight, dude. But that was the first time that I ever got on stage. They were just well, we're going to take a break. And they're like, hey, do you guys want to get up and play a couple of those songs you were messing around with? And
yep.
Then my entire life went downhill after that moment.
God,
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I like seeing where your music
No,
is
and that's what I'll never forget, that feeling of getting on a stage and all of a sudden you're doing this thing in front of you. And I don't know, you're a kid. The fact that somebody was oh, you're good at this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To give you we'll believe in you.
Well, yeah, and it was, and then after that, we just kept playing music, and then eventually we ended up, I remember, where the police station is in Siren right now?
Yep.
That was the first real show I ever played where there was other punk bands, where it was we got invited to that and we got to open. So we played first.
Perfect. At
the fucking Siren Community Center. And dude, it's funny too. I think about it now. I'm kids aren't doing that anymore.
No. Mm-mm.
Are kids even learning instruments? I don't know. I'm not really around.
I think band's still pretty.
like the school band, which I was in the school band as well.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even in drums in the school band. When I learned drums, I was learning it playing punk music, right?
Yeah.
And like Beatles. Like I was learning Beatles songs. That's what we played. We played horrible Green Day covers.
Yeah.
And tried to play Beatles songs. Like that was the two things. And then eventually we started to learn more stuff and discover more music. But so I remember going to Miss Anderson and like, dude, shout out Miss Anderson, legend. Dude, anybody who went to Siren School, that lady has impacted them.
Music teacher?
Yes.
We got a Miss Anderson music teacher.
In Frederick you did?
Yeah.
Oh. Not the same person, I can guarantee you that.
Probably not. No.
But Miss Anderson, God, she's just like, she's touched so many people's lives, like not only as a music teacher, but just as a person.
Yeah.
And she really helped me stay interested in music. Like there was a lot of times where I was like, I don't think I'm going to be in band this year. And I was probably like messing around with stupid friends or something like that. And she was always like, well, no, like we need you. And I'm just like, well, so-and-so can do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I just want, like there was parts where, like times where I was disinterested probably for a stupid reason.
Yep. And she just reeled you right back
in.
in.
Well, she's like, no, you got to like stick with this. And like, okay. Yeah. And like you're a kid, you don't like, you're just going where someone points you. Yeah. That's like you go in the direction someone points you in.
Yeah.
And, but it was funny because I started out playing trumpet and then I think she switched me to, do you know what a baritone is? It's like a small tuba.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's
shaped kind of the same, but it
doesn't wrap around you.
Yeah, it's like smaller. You like hold it in front. So then I got switched to that because I couldn't hit high notes on the trumpet, and then I got bored because like you're just playing bass notes and it's kind of just, and I'm like, and then that's when I was like, I thought about, I think I was like, I'm gonna quit band. Like I don't want to do this anymore because I was bored. I was like, playing these parts are boring to me. And then like after I picked up drums, I was like, well, hey,
this is nice.
Well, I was like, well, hey, can I be in percussion? And she's like, well, what can you do? She's like, show me. Like, I've been playing at Bob's house, and she knew Bob. Like, everybody knows everyone in Siren. Who, like, especially people who do music in Siren, like, they know the other people who do music. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a small community of people who play music. And she was like, well, show me what you can do. And I sat down and just ripped something out on the drum kit.
Buckle up, Miss Anderson.
Yeah, I was like, you ready for this? But so like I just did something and she was kind of like, all right, you're in percussion now. And I'm like, sweet.
Yeah.
So like I think that summer she threw me on a marching snare, like we did the marching band in the summer, and just threw me on a snare drum. And like I don't know, I kind of found my place after that. I was like, okay, this is where I belong in whatever this is, kind of thing. And then just spent tons of time in my parents' basement. Like, dude, I was a psychopath about like figuring out how to play entire records like front to back. Like I would just, and this is back in the day when, now it's way better. Like you can literally plug your phone in to like in-ear headphones. What is that?
It's the ice cracking.
Oh.
It's fine.
We might go through.
No, we're not going through.
No, it's too thick.
It's 26 inches out here.
Dude, that's a lot of ice. Yeah. But I would sit in the basement and like decipher entire albums, like front to back, and like meticulously. Mm-hmm. Like not just like figure out how to play along to them. Like I would sit there and figure out note for note how every like fill went. So I was like, if this part is like snare, tom, tom,
God, man,
versus
that would drive me nuts.
versus like snare, tom, snare, like that. I would like sit. I'd sit and figure out like, and it would be fast ones where it's like, like I would figure out like what the drummer.
See, I could never do that.
But that's kind of how I was about everything. Was just like. And then doing that for an entire album, and I would learn multiple albums. I would just sit and like, and then my friend Brian, like, he was playing drums in the band at Webster School, and when I met him, he was doing the same thing, and then that's kind of like how our friendship started. Was like,
nice.
We were both like, well, like, how's this feel go?
Yeah.
We both had like our interpretations of how we thought things went. We always like kind of got off on that. And then I see on like now that YouTube's a thing, like YouTube wasn't a thing back then. YouTube was, I don't even think like you could do something like that on a computer at the time.
I don't remember being on a lot of YouTube in high school.
I remember there was the first thing I ever saw a video on was like E-Bombs World or something it was called. Yeah. I remember going on it on the school computers, and I remember it got blocked very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because YouTube was blocked. Yeah, that's why.
And then like when YouTube came out, it was mostly a lot of the stuff I had already seen on E-Bombs World. Yeah. But I remember E-Bombs World was like you could play games and watch video. Like it was just an entertainment site. Dude, and like OGs remembered E-Bombs World.
I don't remember E-Bombs at all.
God, I don't even remember when that was. Like computers, like, dude, that's what's crazy. Like, even like in just this conversation, like being in music from then to like where things are now, like what has happened and how things have changed just because of technology,
right,
is insane. Like even in the last, like if you look back in the last 100 years,
dude,
of like 19, it would be 1925.
Yeah,
dude.
Just
I don't think a lot of people
stringing like just.
Well, just not even music.
There's no computers, nothing. It's
just technology in general. We are living through a time that I don't think anyone can comprehend how quickly everything is advancing, like in that retrospect, as far as like I've seen and heard about like some of the ice fishing and just fishing technology that exists.
It's insane. Yeah,
I'm like,
some
you don't even have
systems.
You don't have to do anything anymore.
I mean, the one thing that they say is like it won't catch the fish for you. Like it's very good at finding them.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to figure out where they are really quickly. But like, dude, with music, and okay, I was gonna mention that earlier. Dave always sends me he sends me oh, okay. I don't know what that was all about, but he always sends me videos of like 90s rock artists and stuff like that, where he's like, oh, check this out, man, just raw talent, dude playing an instrument, no computers. Right. And I'm just like, it cracks me up because at some point, I forget when it was. Do you know the difference between analog recording versus digital recording?
No.
So if you listen to like Led Zeppelin or like classic rock, a lot of that classic rock, it was all recorded onto tape, like a physical piece of tape on reels. Yep. I still don't even understand completely how that whole operation worked.
No idea.
Crazy.
That's magic to me.
And nothing so nothing got edited, because to edit something you would have to like physically cut out a piece of tape and then, I don't know, glue it back together. I have no idea. Yeah. So there was a transition that happened where all the studios went from having that, and then once computers got invented and implemented, then it like this whole digital audio recording world gave birth, like a whole thing happened where all of a sudden, like now everything is going into computers. And I think I was alive when that transition happened. I didn't know anything about it at the time. I had this perception that you went into a room, threw a bunch of microphones on your instruments, and you recorded.
That was it.
And then it magically sounded good. Nope. Not how it works. There's so many like little factors and nuances, and then like you get into like microphone selection, microphone placement. Like, dude, it is.
Dude, and like
room
design too.
Room is so huge, dude. Room is like I don't know, this room. I don't think with these mics, there's never going to be anything where it's like where you hear like it's a dead room. It's a dead room. Yeah. But recording wise, sometimes like they always talk about on, I think it's one of the Led Zeppelin albums, how there was just a great room sound on the drums. And that's what it was all about back then. It was like, we got to get into this studio and record the drums there because that room sounds the best. And there's something to be said for that.
It's cool. It's
Dude,
just like
it's part of the creative process, and it's really cool. And
kudos to the guy who's like, there's only one place in this whole planet where this sounds the best.
Yeah.
That room.
And that's where we got to get John Bonham on that drum kit. It's in that room. And then that's how that was people's mentality. It was, we got to do this here because of this, this, and this. And like, I don't know. What's going on? Oh, I thought you saw someone out the window, but
no, I'm just looking at my.
The blinds are closed.
No, we probably should wrap this up pretty soon. That card's getting low.
Yeah, for sure. How long have we been going for?
Almost 3.
Yeah, you're gonna cut a lot of stuff, I suppose, too. Here and there.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, I can talk, dude. I can talk forever.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I just want to make sure that. Yeah, that one's low on battery but yeah.
I feel like we hit on
pretty good amount that I wanted to cover, like your music stuff, your hiking stuff.
Yeah. A little bit of life stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Little construction stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's been great, man.
Yeah, dude. It's so stoked that you invited me to come do this.
Absolutely. I was really stoked you came out because it is a drive from you.
It's not, dude. It's not bad. I wasn't doing anything this weekend anyways, and I'm like, after you did the Thomas's episode, I was like, oh man, I hope he invites me out to do one. I feel like that could be really fun. So like,
I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, man, it was a blast. I could keep going for like 3 more hours, but I'm like, no, that's for another time.
Oh, dude,
that's for a different podcast,
right? And I do think that, I think we're gonna rolls through some people, and like, I know every single other guest that I've had on like could talk for more and more. So like, maybe just have like a part 2 from like.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a problem.
I've listened to a lot of other podcasts where they do that.
Right.
Where they just do it like, oh, this is what you had going on last time. Like, what's up now?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Like I know, I won't spoil anything, but we're definitely having guests on again. So
yeah,
it'll happen. But
no, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you want to? I just want to say I love what you're doing. I think it's really special. I think it's unique. To this area.
It is, yeah.
And I think that
I appreciate that.
There's a lot of people that have a lot of interesting things to talk about.
Yeah.
And interesting things to say.
I loved like how you were saying earlier about, when we were talking, you were taking little bits and pieces from Thomas, and it resonates with you. Like, I love how that little web grows from each and every one. So I'm sure there's going to be someone, I don't know, maybe Randy's on and he's like, when you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just like topics and like stuff to elaborate on. And and we all spent so much time together growing up, and like, honestly, like I've learned a lot about life from just being around those guys. Like, they've been, and a lot of other people around here too. I'm like, there's so many other people around here. You got to get on this.
I know. I got a huge list.
Yeah, you start going through the list.
Yeah.
Film it when you got time.
Schmutz. Yeah. No, it's been a fun ride so far. Like, very, very.
I'm glad to be here during the early stages. And
I feel like we hit the ground running pretty good though. But
yeah, and if you need any other audio insight,
I always do. I have
no
idea what I'm
doing.
Call.
I'll help you figure it out. It's not that difficult.
Perfect.
You can learn anything. YouTube, dude.
Definitely YouTube University.
YouTube and people who have spent a lot of time on YouTube, aka me.
Perfect. All right.
Awesome, man.
Well, if you guys Well, if you guys liked what you heard, like what you saw, leave me a like, subscribe. We're gonna grow this thing. Want to thank you again, Brett, for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Love your insight and your knowledge on any audio information. That's been helpful. So hopefully the listeners can hear the difference in the next coming episodes. But
hopefully I just want to say that stuff gets pretty technical sometimes.
Oh God, mind melting.
And I hope it doesn't, a lot of that stuff's going to fly over people's heads. But if you can take anything from that, just know that I put a lot of work into what I do that happens behind the scenes, and Dayton has too. And we connect pretty heavily on that. And I think you come to me a lot because I understand the amount of work you're putting in and kind of like the process of what it takes. And
I always appreciate your insight on that.
Yeah, man, it's a labor of love, and I'm here to help any way I can.
Well, it's been fun, man. All right, guys. Scoop you later.
What do you sing it?
I don't know.
Should we harmonize?
Sure. Scoop you later.